Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. People are in Hokage, starting to awaken the gene lock. Chapter 21. Ding. Congratulations to host for entering the second level of gene lock. Ding. Physical potential is fully unleashed. Muscles, blood, nerves, and 5 senses are greatly strengthened. Suddenly, Yi Feng felt that everything between heaven and earth had slowed down. The effect of strengthening the 5 senses. It's not that things have slowed down, but that Yi Feng's reaction nerves and thinking have become faster. The muscles, blood, and nerves all adapted at this moment. Ding. Turn on super perception, recovery, and reaction. At this moment, Yi Feng felt that the cells in his body were all active. Any slightest movement around him cannot escape Yi Feng's perception. This nervous sense is comparable to opening 3 Tomo Sharingan. Coupled with super resilience and responsiveness, Yi Feng's eyes instantly lost any pressure from these attacks. Yi Feng felt the energy in his body that was so violent that it reached ultimate, then he raised his head and looked at the 3 ninjutsu in front of him. He took back the black knife and immediately charged up his right fist. One punch. Boldly move forward and blast hard. Boom. Boom. In an instant, a deafening explosion resounded throughout the sky. The 3 fire dragons and shurikens mixed with flames dissipated instantly. The shuriken struck back in the original direction. And the thunder tiger was directly shattered into pieces, turning into dots of lightning and disappearing without a trace. Second level gene lock. So scary. This is just pure physical power. Yi Feng is not mixed with chakra yet. In the distance, Shisui and Kakashi's eyes were deeply shocked. Shocked beyond measure, so shocked that I couldn't extricate myself. The storm has not stopped yet, and at least a dozen of the surrounding trees have been destroyed by this wave. The momentum then slowly weakened. Finally it turned into calm. Yi Feng took a deep breath. Second level state. It's really strong. After releasing the second level state, Yi Feng only felt his body tremble slightly. He quickly put the knife in front of himself. Quietly regain the strength in your body. Although it is very powerful, it is ridiculously powerful. However, after all, it has just entered the second level state. If it happened a few more times, Yi Feng might have fainted. However, the fatigue that I imagined was not that strong. This is mostly due to Yi Feng's crazy training on weekdays. Yi Feng, are you okay? Mao Yuxian hurriedly ran to Yi Feng's side. Looking at Yi Feng with a worried look. It's okay, I just used up some energy. Yi Feng smiled casually. At this time, he also began to feel the benefits brought by the second level gene lock. With super recovery power, Yi Feng has already begun to restore his physical strength. It is estimated that it will be restored in 10 minutes at most. Yi Feng, you are really amazing. Mao Yuxian said with admiration after seeing that Yi Feng was fine. It's okay. It's not that Yi Feng is humble, but he never thought he was very powerful. After all, there are many people in the ninja world who can kill him. Therefore, he would never say that he was powerful until he became the strongest in the ninja world. At this time, Shisui quickly came to Yi Feng with Itachi and Kakashi on his back. Yi Feng, are you okay? Shisui said worriedly. It's okay. Yi Feng smiled. The black Taoist uniform on his body was a little broken, and there was some dust on his body. This was the only time in their training history that Yi Feng became like this. Yi Feng, you are really so pervert. Kakashi clicked his tongue and looked Yi Feng up and down. After making sure he was fine, he said, there is no one like you. The more you fight, the stronger you get. The more you fight, the stronger you get. Kakashi was extremely shocked by Yi Feng. Shisui may not know it very well, but Kakashi knows it deeply. A few months ago, when I first met Yi Feng, he was still struggling with physical training. Now, a combined ninjutsu that can destroy 3 of himself with one punch. Although it consumes a lot of Yi Feng, this strength is enough to make people awe. If Kakashi was in the same situation before, he couldn't guarantee that he could survive it like Yi Feng. At this time, Yi Feng's physical strength also recovered. After closing the second level, Yi Feng checked his personal attributes. Host. Yi Feng. Attributes. Thunder, Wind. Chakra. 3000 Jonin. Gene lock. Level 2 progress from level 3 0.0%. The normal level 2 state can be turned on when the progress reaches 50%. Current goal. Unlimited squeezing of physical and attribute limits. New goal. Practice ninjutsu, strengthen ninjutsu, and exercise to the limit. Yi Feng looked at the new target and couldn't help but clicked his tongue. The sword is just one of his many skills, but ninjutsu must also be learned. The combination of swordsmanship and ninjutsu can make you even more powerful. This will make it more challenging. Now, it is already 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Today's training also ended early. Yi Feng knows that sometimes it is not ideal to just practice hard. Relaxation is the right approach. Itachi was unconscious, so Shisui took Itachi out of here first. It's just because of excessive chakra consumption, it doesn't matter. Kakashi shamelessly followed Yi Feng to his home. Yi Feng also knew that Kakashi's knot in his heart had been resolved. Especially after Yi Feng unlocked the second level gene lock. He seemed to be able to feel the most essential things from a person. A hint of warmth began to appear on Kakashi's body. The cold Kakashi has become a thing of the past, and the current Kakashi is about to evolve into a seemingly serious but actually unreliable Konoha. Yi Feng is helpless. Cold Kakashi and Sand Sculpture Kakashi, both of them seem to be difficult to deal with. No matter what, Yi Feng doesn't care about this because he is Brother Kazi. I didn't expect that today's practice would end so soon. Shihihong looked at the returning people and said with a smile. In that case, how about we go have barbecue together? No objection. Yi Feng nodded. He really hasn't eaten anywhere else in such a long time. Either eat the rice cooked by Yuhi-hong, or catch the fish yourself and grill it. Kakashi, come together, Yuhi Kurenai said with a smile. Yeah, Kakashi nodded. Afterwards, Yi Feng changed into a black martial arts uniform, and everyone set off. Konoha Barbecue Restaurant. It's a rather magical place. Because some familiar faces will appear here. Just like now. Hey, Kakashi, long time no see. A watermelon-headed ninja wearing green tights is waving his hands at Kakashi. After Kakashi saw Might Guy, his head suddenly became as big as a bucket. At this time, Might Guy is already a ninja. And now he is still on the mission to protect Kushina. Before, when Yi Feng learned that Might Guy was performing this mission, he didn't believe it. However, if you think about it carefully, it seems that among Kakashi's contemporaries, only Might Guy is the strongest. I wonder if Namikaze Minato is very good at judging people, so he just picked someone who will be stronger than Kakashi in the future. As everyone knows, during the Fourth Ninja War, Emperor Guy's power at 8 Gate Knight Guy. That was the man who almost brought up the finale. Become the emperor in one battle. Well deserved. You are Yi Feng. The fourth Hokage also mentioned you to me. You are a very strong genius. Might Guy walked up to Yi Feng, showing his shining teeth and giving Yi Feng a thumbs up. My name is Might Guy. Please give me your advice. Guy. Yi Feng had a smile on his face. There are very few people in the Hokage who can admire him, but Might Guy is among them. He is a genius who has worked hard to the extreme. Yi Feng admired him very much. Everyone, the meal has been ordered. Come over and cook it. Yuhi Hong on the side waved her hands to everyone. Everyone sat down. Soon, all the barbecues were served. Kakashi, how about we compete to see who can eat more? Might Guy picked up a piece of barbecue and looked at Kakashi. Kakashi's exposed eye slowly turned into a dead fish eye. Guy, there's no need to compete while eating. Kakashi said helplessly. No, the flame of youth, it must not be extinguished. Might Guy said firmly. This, Kakashi felt a little confused. At this time, Yi Feng, who was sitting on the left side of Kakashi, spoke. Kakashi, if you don't work hard, you will be surpassed by Guy soon. This sentence is a bit irrelevant to the topic at hand. However, after Kakashi, Yi Feng never evaluates a person casually. If he can say this, doesn't it mean that, if he doesn't work hard, he will really be surpassed by Might Guy? Kakashi's father also said the same thing at the beginning. He will definitely become a good opponent. If you underestimate him, he will surpass you in the future, Kakashi. Thinking of this, Kakashi's eyes changed when he looked at Might Guy. Okay, Guy, I accept your challenge, Kakashi said seriously. Ha ha ha, come on, Might Guy laughed. These days, I have been carrying out secret missions, basically using military ration pills and instant food to satisfy my hunger. Now that I finally have the opportunity, I naturally want to have a big meal. After half an hour, Everyone was exhausted. And a man was still eating barbecue unhurriedly. This person is naturally Yi Feng. Yi Feng has a big appetite. In fact, one person can feed 5 of them. What's wrong? Yi Feng raised his head and looked at everyone. Brother, I really envy you. No matter how much you eat, you don't gain weight. Yu Hong held her chin with one hand, her eyes filled with jealousy. If sister can train like me, no matter how much she eats, she will not gain weight. Yi Feng said seriously. HMPH, your training method is simply pervert. No, it's pervert. Yu Hong shrank her neck. Yi Feng shrugged and continued eating. However, these words made Might Guy interested. He also knew some of Yi Feng's cultivation methods from Kakashi's mouth. However, in his opinion, isn't that just ordinary training? After all, Might Guy himself is a practicing madman. Yi Feng, after eating, let's compete later. Might Guy looked at Yi Feng and said. Okay. Yi Feng nodded. Might Guy, exercise maniac, physical skills maniac. Yi Feng also wants to know at this moment, whether his physical skills are stronger or weaker than Might Guy's. Let's do this. Yu Hong narrowed her eyes and said with a smile, well, whoever loses will invite us all to the hot springs. No problem. Might Guy nodded. Yi Feng clicked his tongue and came to the world of Hokage, but he still had never been in a hot spring. It's winter now, so taking a bath in the hot springs should be very comfortable and relieve fatigue. After the meal, Might Guy followed everyone to the third practice field. Kakashi, after I win, you have to come and compete with me. Might Guy said confidently. You win. Kakashi recalled Yi Feng's punch in the afternoon. Immediately he shook his head vigorously and said extremely seriously, Guy, you will not win. Might Guy. At this moment, Yi Feng handed the black knife to Mao Yuxian. This was the first time that Yi Feng took the initiative to hand the knife to Mao Yuxian. And Shi Yan also felt a little flattered. For a swordsman, the sword is his right arm. In other words, Yi Feng still has feelings for himself. Humph, I keep a straight face every day, but actually I still like myself. Mao Yuxian held Yi Feng's saber and went alone. Yi Feng came to the field and said calmly, begin. As the sound falls, Yi Feng and Might Guy moved at the same time. This time it's a battle of physical skills. Boom. Yi Feng punched Might Guy on the arm. Might Guy only felt a powerful attack. This terrifying strength is actually not inferior to him at all. It's really strong. Might Guy's eyes showed excitement. And Yi Feng is also using this physical training to adapt to his body. Although I can directly activate the second level Might Guy. However, if that is the case, you will not achieve your goal. Both of them are constantly increasing the force on their fists and feet. The figure went from clear to blurry, and finally turned into a shadow. Shi Hong and Wu Yuxian had already lost sight of Yi Feng and Might Guy. Only Kakashi, who opened his forehead protector and used 3 Tomo Sharingan, was able to see clearly. Half an hour later, Yi Feng suddenly felt that facing Might Guy's violent attack seemed normal. Even the slightest sense of oppression is gone. Adapted, Yi Feng's body has adapted to the improvement brought about by unlocking the second level gene lock. Yi Feng clenched his right fist tightly and exerted force boldly. Boom! A simple punch collided with Might Guy's fist. Might Guy only felt as if his punch had hit a steel plate. His whole arm was also numb from the shock. But in the next moment, he wanted to fight back. A hand touched his chest. If you lose, go to the hot springs. Yi Feng smiled lightly. Then, he walked towards Mao Yuxian. Bai Guy was stunned on the spot and murmured, so, is Yi Feng so powerful? What if his finger just now was not a finger, but a kunai or a black knife? Then Might Guy is dead. It's really strong. A strong fighting spirit flashed in Might Guy's eyes. 20 minutes later, everyone arrived at Konoha Hot Spring. There was no mixed bathing as expected. Men are on the left and women are on the right, separated by a wooden wall in the middle. Yi Feng, Kakashi, and Might Guy are on the right side. Yu Hong and Uazuki Yugao are on the left. Hot springs are places where people can relax. After taking a comfortable bath in the hot spring, Yi Feng got dressed and prepared to join Yuri Hong and the others. When he just walked out of the dressing room, he saw Kurenai Yuhi with a smirk on her face. Yes, just with a bad smile. Yuhi Hong held a purple kimono in her hand, and she tiptoed to Yi Feng. Brother, the opportunity is very good now. Don't miss it. Yu Hong looked around and immediately handed the purple kimono to Yi Feng. Of course Yi Feng saw Yu Hong's intention. Sister, this is not good. What's wrong with this? Hong patted Yi Feng on the shoulder. Xian is my default sister-in-law. Come on. Oh doo-doo. After saying that, she quickly left here. Yi Feng looked at the purple kimono in his hand and fell into deep thought. It's not that he doesn't want to have children love each other, but it's because we are in a turbulent era and strength is everything. Moreover, Yi Feng looked at himself up and down. He was only 5 years old now. This kind of thing should be done slowly. At this moment, the wooden door on Yi Feng's right was opened. Sister Yu Hong, have you brought my clothes? Mao Yuxian's voice came. Immediately, they looked at each other. In front of Shi Yan was Yi Feng, who was wearing black Taoist uniform. He was holding his own clothes in his hand. Yi Feng took a deep breath. At this time, as long as you are not embarrassed, it will be others who will be embarrassed in the end. He took 2 steps forward and said calmly, don't scream, I'll give you the clothes. Mao Yuxian felt her mind go blank for a while and nodded dully. He took the clothes from Yi Feng's hand. Yi Feng smiled casually, took out his black knife from the locker on the side, and walked away leisurely. Only then did Mao Yuxian react. Looking at the clothes in her hand, her cheeks quickly became hot. At this moment, Yi Feng came to the courtyard outside the hot spring pavilion. Looking at the note on the desktop, Yi Feng thought deeply. The note read, Brother, come on. Sister has asked Kakashi and Might Guy to go back first. Yi Feng was speechless. There was no other way. Yu Hong even went back early. I can't leave Mao Yuxian here alone, right? 10 minutes later, Mao Yuxian walked out quietly. Let's go home. Yi Feng stood up and said with a smile. Where's Sister Hong? Ui Yuxian looked around and asked curiously. She went home first. Yi Feng said. Oh. Shi Yan nodded and came to Yi Feng's side. Yi Feng felt like a bad person in front of the shy Shi Yan. Let's go. After Yi Feng finished speaking, he walked outside. Shi Yan had no choice but to follow Yi Feng. The sky was getting dark now, and the moon was slowly rising. Yi Feng took a relatively secluded path. Unknowingly, the two people walked to the place where they first met. It is a small practice place. Yi Feng. At this moment, Mao Yuxian's voice reached Yi Feng's ears. What? Yi Feng stopped. I want you to start a small stove for me. Shi Yan said with her silver teeth clenched. Turn on the small stove. Yi Feng took a deep breath. Good. With just one word, Shi Yan felt that the softest part of her heart was touched. He did not refuse his request. Shi Yan took out her sword and opened her stance. Yi Feng also slowly drew out his black knife. However, this time Yi Feng restrained all his momentum. Otherwise, it will be like last time, directly scaring people to tears. Come on, use all your strength, Yi Feng said with a smile. Yes, Shi Yan nodded vigorously, and started to attack Yi Feng with the long sword in her hand. She knows that she is not strong, so she will do anything to catch up with Yi Feng. Training has begun. Konoha-style swordsmanship. On the training ground, the purple-haired figure was rapidly thrusting towards Yi Feng. Yi Feng raised the black knife in his hand and blocked all of them. You can stab right here. Right, that is it. Well, if the knife just struck was horizontal, it would be more powerful. Here, under the moonlight, the two figures were constantly intertwined. Half an hour later, Ui Yuxian had exhausted all her strength. His feet gave way and he fell sideways. Seeing this, Yi Feng reluctantly came to Shi Yan's side. Yi Feng, you are such a pervert. Shi Yan muttered softly. In the half-hour training just now, she was stunned that she didn't get any benefit from Yi Feng. On the contrary, my body was stained with a lot of dust. Yi Feng ignored Shi Yan's words. If it weren't for the fact that he was still a little overheated, Yi Feng would really want to pervert once. Do you still have the strength to walk? Yi Feng asked. No more, Shi Yan said softly. Okay. Yi Feng clicked his tongue and carried Shi Yan on his back. 15 minutes later, we arrived home. Shi Yan also recovered some strength at this time. Yu Hong had already fallen asleep. With Yi Feng here, she believed that nothing would happen to Shi Yan. You go and wash up. Yi Feng looked at Shi Yan who was covered in dirt and said helplessly. Does this little girl have to be beaten to be honest? Yes. Shi Yan nodded, as if she thought of what happened before, her cheeks turned slightly red. Then he ran away quickly. Yi Feng scratched his head and returned to his room to rest. Lying on the bed, Yi Feng closed his eyes and quietly felt the changes in his body. First of all, my current physique has been greatly strengthened. The improvements brought about by opening the second level are also visible to the naked eye. Open personal properties. Host, Yi Feng. Attributes, Thunder, Wind. Chakra, 3000 Jonin. Gene Lock, Level 2 not opened. Progress from Level 3 o'clock. 0%. The normal Level 2 state can be opened when the progress reaches 50%. Current goal, unlimited squeezing of physical and attribute limits. New goal, practice ninjutsu, strengthen ninjutsu, and exercise to the limit. Yi Feng looked at the last line and murmured softly. Ninjutsu. It is true that this is the world of Hokage, and ninjutsu is the main theme of this world. Yi Feng has practiced so far that he has not mastered a single ninjutsu. It's not that he doesn't want to master it, it's just that he doesn't care. Besides, Yu Hihong majored in illusion. Yi Feng doesn't have much interest in illusions. Because he knew that when the gene lock was unlocked to a higher level, illusion has no effect on him at all. Strength is king. Yi Feng slowly raised his right hand, and then shook it hard. Target, the strongest, too powerful and unscrupulous. Too powerful to have no scruples. After deepening the goal again, Yi Feng fell asleep. The snow scene in winter is still very beautiful. Yi Feng has been standing in front of the door for nearly 3 hours. Today is the New Year's Eve celebration. Yi Feng has agreed to Shirahong and Wu Yuxian to take them shopping. Therefore, Yi Feng has been waiting here for a long time. I have to say, girls just love dressing up. After talking about it for half an hour, she got dressed up. As a result, Yi Feng waited for 3 hours. If Yi Feng hadn't been able to sense the breath in their house, Yi Feng would have thought they had sneaked away. Okay. At this moment, Shi Raihong's voice came from behind Yi Feng. Yi Feng turned around, slightly surprised. Today, Yu Hihong is dressed very charmingly and beautifully. The already stretched figure is coupled with this light red cheongsam. Yi Feng couldn't help but clicked his tongue. Sister, you are so beautiful today. Yi Feng said. Oh my, it's really uncommon to hear compliments from you. Yu Hihong pursed her lips and chuckled. At this time, Uezuki Xian, who was following Yu Hihongshan, also walked out coquettishly. Yi Feng tilted his head and couldn't help but take a breath. Then he looked at Yuri Hong and said seriously, Sister, are you sure you want a 10-year-old girl to wear a cheongsam? What's wrong? Isn't it possible? Shi Hihong gave Yi Feng a soft look. Yi Feng nodded and said nothing more. Sure enough, the world of the two-spined salamander is so beautiful. Precocious and bold. I like. Let's go shopping. Shi Hihong smiled, holding Yi Feng with her left hand and Xian with her right hand, and rushed out happily. The New Year festival is a kind of holiday. Delicious, delicious, fun, there are all kinds of applications. This is Yi Feng's first time to experience Konoha's festival. He spent all his time in training before. However, now, he has entered the second level. If you want to get to the next level, training alone is very slow. We must fight. Experience. Yi Feng, what are you thinking about? A voice interrupted Yi Feng's thoughts. I saw Yu Hihong pulling herself aside, and then whispered, Brother, this is a great opportunity. What chance? Yi Feng was slightly stunned. Wow, this is your first date with Xian. Shi Hihong curled her lips and said. Sister, it seems you forced me to come here. Nonsense. If I didn't pull you over, would you come? Yu Hihong said angrily. No. Yi Feng shook his head. Yu Hihong's lungs almost exploded with anger. Yi Feng, let me tell you, I like this girl Xian very much. So, you must get her. Do you know? Yi Feng smacked his tongue. Why is this sister more anxious than him? Do you understand? Yu Hihong said with a straight face. I know. There is no other way. If you don't compromise, I'm afraid I won't be able to have a delicious meal tonight. Yi Feng could only compromise. Hey, this is my good little brother. Yu Hihong smiled broadly. Come on. Oh doo-doo. My sister has your strong backing. Yi Feng was completely speechless. Why don't you think about this kind of thing better when you grow up? Even if I really get this girl now, what happens next? So, this kind of thing should not be rushed. Under the pressure of Yu Hong, Yi Feng had no choice but to take Yu Yan to wander around the streets of Konoha. Third Hokage. At this moment, Shi Yan suddenly exclaimed. And Yi Feng also followed Shi Yan's gaze and looked over. Sure enough, on the other side of the street is the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen was also looking at Yi Feng. Yi Feng's eyes did not dodge, but looked straight at Sarutobi Hiruzen. Father, that's him. He's the one who beat me. Next to Sarutobi Hiruzen, a boy with a bandage on his arm immediately said loudly. Well, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yi Feng in the distance, and then at Asuma beside him. He could see that there was a vague pressure on Yi Feng. As for Asuma, he couldn't detect anything. Yi Feng, you injured Mr. Hokage's son last time. He won't come to trouble you now. Shi Yan turned her head and looked at Yi Feng with a worried look. No, don't worry, not only will he not cause trouble for me, but he will also come over and praise me for playing well. Yi Feng smiled softly. He could see that Mao Yuxian was really worried about him. Ah, Shi Yan had a look of disbelief upon hearing this. Just as Yi Feng finished speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen from a distance slowly walked towards him. After seeing Sarutobi Hiruzen, some ninjas and civilians on the road stopped and said hello to him. Yi Feng can tell from the micro-expression on Sarutobi Hiruzen's face that he is enjoying it now. Sure enough, he is no longer the Sarutobi Hiruzen he was back then. Instead, they are greedy for enjoyment and addicted to power. However, Yi Feng will not judge him. After all, everyone has the right to choose the path they want to take. However, Yi Feng believes in one truth. People respect me and I respect others. Not long after, Sarutobi Hiruzen came to Yi Feng. Behind him, Sarutobi Asuma followed closely. Even Yi Feng could see the trace of eagerness and pride on Asuma's face. Yi Feng shook his head. Yi Feng was curious about this kind of person. How did he end up falling in love with Jonin in the future? Rely on relationships, probably, although the impression of Asuma in the original work is not so ugly. However, Yi Feng knows that this is the real world of Hokage. Although I know all the plot, I can't guarantee that there will be no deviations. In short, if you are strong, you have nothing to fear. Yi Feng. Sarutobi Hiruzen put a charitable smile on his face. Yi Feng nodded. Third generation. He wouldn't call Sarutobi Hiruzen Hokage, after all he was not a Hokage now. Even though he secretly still has the right to be a Hokage, it doesn't mean it doesn't. To be fair, he wasn't either. Hey, you should be called Lord Third Hokage. Sarutobi Asuma said loudly after hearing what Yi Feng called his father. So is your father a Hokage now? Yi Feng looked at Asuma with some fun. Why not? My father is Hokage, Sarutobi Asuma said arrogantly. Normally, Asuma would not be so unsightly. However, when he saw Yi Feng, his anger suddenly burst out. When I thought that I was actually beaten by Yi Feng and entered the hospital, and there were so many people watching. Thinking of this, Asuma lost the ability to think normally. Asuma, Sarutobi Hiruzen snorted heavily. He's not the Hokage now. The current Hokage is the fourth Hokage, Namikaze Minato. Although, he can still exercise Hokage's rights now. But in the eyes of the ninjas and civilians around him, he was no longer a Hokage. Thank you so much to Yi Feng last time for teaching Asuma a lesson for me. After seeing the eyes of the people around him, Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Yi Feng with a smile. How about it? Didn't expect it. I'm not here to trouble Yi Feng. Sure enough, as soon as these words came out, everyone around them had a look of shock and emotion on their faces. Some whispers suddenly came. I thought Lord Third Hokage would. I told you before, the Third Hokage wouldn't do this. Yes, the Third Hokage is still as strong as ever. Quote. Such compliments abound. Yi Feng tilted his head and scanned several directions. These were the places where the voices were the loudest. Haha, are you entertaining yourself? It seems that third generation is really hopeless. However, in doing so, third generation also exposed its shortcomings. He wants fame, prestige, and the feeling of being superior and supported by others. This is also the reason why he has been reluctant to delegate power. The play is over, can I go? Yi Feng shook his head. He took Shi Yan's hand and left here. Are you afraid that the third generation will cause trouble for you? Yi Feng is really not afraid. Not only that, but on the contrary, if he could really get a few ninjas to give him tricks. Yi Feng is very welcoming. Yi Feng. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yi Feng's back and murmured in a low voice. Sure enough, he is an incredible genius. This kind of genius must exist to protect Konoha. Well, I should be in the grade of school now. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment and then left here silently. Yi Feng is only 5 years old now. Although there is some distance between him and Asuma, the worst thing is that they are not allowed to meet. After seeing Yi Feng today, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Yi Feng would never be too weak in the future. He is ambitious and a descendant of Konoha. It must be cultivated well. Well, when he goes to school, it's time to let him know what the will of fire is. He is very confident in his will of fire. Just a few minutes after Sarutobi Hiruzen left, Minato's figure suddenly appeared next to Yi Feng. At the same time, Kakashi also came here. Kakashi just told me that third generation is looking for you. He didn't say anything. Minato was still processing documents in the Hokage office building. After getting the news about Kakashi, he immediately set out to come here. I didn't say anything. Yi Feng smiled. He had sensed Kakashi before, but he just didn't pay attention. Turns out I was looking for fourth generation. That's good. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that third generation would say something bad. Yi Feng, can I invite you to my house in half an hour? Minato put a smile on his face. Today is a holiday, and Minato seemed to have invited Yi Feng to his home very early. Even Minato wanted Yi Feng to be his disciple. However, he is still in a young age, so we should wait until he graduates from ninja school to discuss this matter. Okay, Yi Feng nodded. It seems that he won't be able to practice today anyway. Just let it go and play. Okay, I'll go back and take care of things. I'll be back soon. After seeing Yi Feng agreeing to his request, Minato left here. At this time, Yi Feng looked at Kakashi. Kakashi coughed lightly and smiled awkwardly. This is considered a tip-off. Yi Feng smiled casually. Kakashi was also worried about him, so Yi Feng naturally wouldn't blame him. Well, let's go buy some food. Yi Feng said. Okay, I agree. Kakashi nodded immediately. Didn't Mr. Fourth Generation just say that he was a guest at his home? On the side, Shi Yan had a puzzled look on his face. Kakashi and Yi Feng looked at Uoyuki Shion at the same time. This is the reaction of someone who has never suffered the poisonous hand of Kushina Uzumaki. Of course Kakashi has tasted it before. He is a leader in the world of dark cuisine. He really doesn't want to experience it a second time. Yi Feng also knows Kushina's cooking skills, so it's not wrong to buy some food. Also, Yi Feng really wants to meet Uzumaki Kushina. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki lost his life to protect Naruto. In the original work, Yi Feng clearly remembers the scene where the Minato couple simultaneously resisted Nine-Tails' attack. Half an hour later, when Minato saw the food Kakashi was holding in his hands, he immediately gave him a thumbs up. Yi Feng, Yuhi Hong, Shi Yan, Kakashi, and Minato, everyone set off in a mighty manner. The residents of the Uchiha clan, above the training ground. Itachi, your strength has improved greatly during this period of time. Shisui looked at Itachi who was fighting with him and said in surprise. I must catch up with Shisui and Yi Feng-san. Itachi said seriously as his figure slowly landed. Yi Feng, Shisui put the short sword in his hand back into the scabbard. The last time, since Yi Feng said those few words, Shisui has been thinking about the will of fire. He has begun to doubt whether the will of fire that he deeply believes in is true. If it is true, then how can I refute what Yi Feng said? Shisui was confused for a moment. He had been thinking about this question for a long time and still couldn't figure it out. Is training over? At this moment, Fugaku's voice reached Shisui and Itachi's ears. Itachi and Shisui stood up. Lord Patriarch, Shisui greeted politely. Father, Itachi said hurriedly. Let's practice here today. Fugaku lowered his head and looked at Itachi with a smile on his face. In the past few days during the New Year festival, our clan will hold a banquet. Itachi, help your father invite Yifeng and the others to join us. Okay, father. Hearing this, Itachi's eyes suddenly lit up. The Uchiha clan naturally holds a banquet every year at this time. However, no foreigners have ever been invited. Yifeng is really the first of its kind. Shisui on the side also had a look of surprise on his face. However, when I thought of Yifeng's conduct and strength, I nodded secretly. He has strength, confidence, and courage, and he is also unconventional in doing things and is very smart. Even Shisui, who has not had much contact with Yifeng, admires Yifeng in his heart. This kind of genius is rare. Minato's home. The group of people were chatting and laughing. Yifeng, my sister is very optimistic about you. Uzumaki Kushina waved her hands. My favorite thing is a genius like you. Come on, you will definitely surpass Minato in the future. Yifeng looked at the whirlpool Kushina and responded politely. She has a very carefree personality, and even though she is about to become a parent, she still has this temperament. But Yifeng likes this kind of temperament very much. At least he won't scheming with you. Moreover, it was right for Yifeng to suggest coming here to buy food. Because there are 2 plates of black unknown objects placed on the dinner plates in the kitchen. Fortunately, Yifeng and the others brought food, otherwise someone would have died. After the meal, Yifeng said to Minato, Yongdame, I want to learn ninjutsu. Minato was stunned for a moment, just when he was about to say something. He then remembered, yes, Yifeng cannot be judged by ordinary people. The chakra in the body of ordinary people at this time is not enough to practice ninjutsu. However, Yifeng should have no such scruples. Okay, let's test your attributes first. Minato said with a smile. After finishing speaking, he ran to the back room and soon brought out a ninja attribute test card. First hold the attribute test card in your hand, and then inject chakra into it and you will know. Minato said with a smile. Yifeng took it and injected a hint of chakra. With the injection of chakra, the card first wrinkled like lightning, and then split directly from the middle. Minato was slightly surprised. It has thunder and wind attributes, dual attributes. Yifeng nodded, he already knew it. Right now, my gene lock has reached the 2nd level. If you want to break through again, you must strengthen your training. Ordinary physical training is already half the result with twice the effort. You must practice more violently. Winter has arrived and the weather has become extremely cold. On top of the training ground at the back of Konoha, a young man wearing a black martial arts uniform was training crazily. Lightning style, Chidori. Yifeng was the first to practice Kakashi's lightning style Chidori. He exerted force under his feet and came to a big tree in an instant. A Chidori pierced the big tree in front of him. Yifeng stepped back, and then fired another Chidori. After repeating it several times, the chakra in the body is also exhausted. Yifeng came to the grass on one side, sat down, and quietly restored chakra. Chakra is a kind of energy. The energy stored in the human body is extracted from cells. Even in a certain aspect, it is similar to gene lock. If the two are combined, the power will naturally increase exponentially. Yifeng, you are truly the most talented genius I have ever seen. At this time, Kakashi took a bottle of water and walked to Yifeng's side. After Yifeng took the water, he said casually, there is no genius who is not a genius. In my eyes, only hard work can lead to genius. Kakashi heard this and nodded, agreeing with this. However, this is not the reason why you can master Chidori in half an hour. Kakashi finally saw today that there is a world outside the sky and there are people outside the world. Chidori, which he was proud of, was actually learned by Yifeng within half an hour. Moreover, from the looks of it, he will be able to use it proficiently in about a day or 2. There aren't even any side effects. You know, Chidori is a quick attack ninjutsu. Even Kakashi needs the assistance of Sharingan if he wants to perform it perfectly. Although it is not as powerful as the S-rank ninjutsu Reikiri, it should not be underestimated. He couldn't figure out how Yifeng could control Chidori without Sharingan. In fact, what Kakashi didn't know was that after Yifeng opened the 2nd level gene lock, the 5 senses have been greatly strengthened. It can even be said that when Yifeng is serious, his insight is on par with 3 Tomo Sharingan. If you activate the 2nd level form of combat, your insight and 5 senses will be strengthened again. Insights beyond 3 Tomo Sharingan are not impossible. Moreover, after the 5 senses are strengthened, illusions will basically lose their effect on Yifeng. As for Mangekyo, that's unknown. After practicing for a while, the long-lost notification sound appeared. Ding! Congratulations to host for breaking through the attribute limit. Added plus 0.2 unlocking progress. Gene lock. Level 2 00.2%. Throughout the day, the sound of trees falling apart could be heard from time to time in the mountains behind Konoha. Kakashi had gone from shock at first to numbness later. In the end, it became ordinary. Yifeng, he is a cultivator. This level of practice is normal. Nothing wrong with that. After completing the practice, Yifeng could feel the energy rolling inside his body. The results of today's practice are not bad, and the unlocking progress has increased by 0.6 points. Compared with the previous speed, it is already much faster. The second level gene lock cannot be quickly opened by ordinary practice. It requires real experience and extreme challenge. Let's go. Itachi invited us to be guests of the Uchiha clan today. Yifeng came to Kakashi's side and said, "Yeah." Kakashi nodded. He didn't have much resistance to the Uchiha clan. Not only that, he actually has some thoughts towards the Uchiha clan. After all, his left eye was a gift from his best friend. Yifeng didn't think there was anything wrong with being a guest of the Uchiha clan. Taking Yuhi Hong, Uwazuki Yugao and Kakashi with them, the 4 of them set out on the road. After arriving at the Uchiha clan's residence, Itachi had been looking around for a long time at the door. Yifeng sang, "You are here." The moment he saw Yifeng, a smile suddenly appeared on his face. Yes, seeing Itachi's appearance, Yifeng couldn't help but stretched out his hand and nodded on his forehead. Uchiha Itachi touched his forehead. Yifeng is the same age as me, but why is he a head taller than me? If someone didn't know the situation, they would think Yifeng was Itachi's brother. Entering the Uchiha clan's residence, Yifeng was slightly surprised. The last time he came here was in autumn. When we came this time, winter was almost over. The snow scene inside the Uchiha clan also has a unique flavor. Yifeng was in a mood to watch, and he took Shirihong and the other 3 people for a walk here. After all, there is still some time before the dinner party. Moreover, with Itachi as a guide here, you can enjoy some beautiful sights. Yifeng looked at Itachi in front of him and smiled lightly. This Itachi no longer has the same deep look as before. It seemed that he had inadvertently changed Itachi's life trajectory. And this is indeed the case. The last time Yifeng told Itachi that instead of thinking about the meaning of life, it would be better to cherish the people around you. Itachi had already started to take action. Naturally, he would not stop thinking about the meaning of life, but his focus had shifted from thinking to cherishing. Moreover, Itachi was also very eager to improve his strength. Because he knows that only strength can change something. It's dinner time. Everyone gathered around a table, which was quite lively. Even Uchiha Izumi came over to eat. Ever since she last saw Yifeng, she has been curious about Yifeng. Moreover, this time I heard that the clan leader actually invited him to attend the clan dinner, and I was even more curious. Yifeng had already noticed that this girl was staring at him, and he didn't even try to hide it. Uchiha Izumi, a very cute girl. However, the ending is a bit sad. Thinking of this, Yifeng picked up a chicken drumstick and smeared it with chili sauce. Then he put it in Itachi's bowl. "Itachi, this is your favorite food." Itachi saw Yifeng with a smile on his face, and he swallowed the words that came to his lips. Immediately, under Yifeng's kind eyes, Itachi ate the chicken leg. "Itachi, it turns out you like spicy food." Makoto, who was beside Itachi, saw the scene in front of him. Immediately, he gave Itachi another piece of chicken leg covered in chili sauce. Itachi said, "It's too difficult for me. Early spring has arrived, within the past 2 months. Yifeng spent almost every day in crazy training. Swordsmanship training, taijutsu training, ninjutsu training. Yifeng did not fail in any of the 3 trainings. Simply put, the improved strength is also very impressive. View personal attributes. Host, Yifeng. Attributes, Thunder, Wind. Chakra, 3000 Jonin. Gene Lock, Level 2 progress from Level 3. 8.6%. The normal level 2 state can be turned on when the progress reaches 50%. Current goal: unlimited squeezing of physical and attribute limits. Latest goal: practice ninjutsu, strengthen ninjutsu, and exercise to the limit. After 2 months, Yifeng managed to reach 8.6% by practicing to the extreme. This speed is not very fast. Yifeng sighed softly. Then, it's time to be high profile. If you still want to break through the limits, then you must attract the attention of some people. Although doing so may cause you some trouble. However, there is no motivation without pressure, and Yifeng knows this very well. The next day, Shirahong's face was red and Yifeng and Wu Yuxian were triggered. Today is the day for Konoha to recruit new students. It is also the day when Yifeng goes to school. Ninja School is a school founded by second Hokage Senju Tobarama. Likewise, the ninja school is where Konoha goes to instill the will of fire in these people. In Yifeng's view, this is almost a brainwashing organization. It's no wonder that these ninjas would fight tooth and nail for Konoha. They've been doing this since they were young. Soon, Yu Hihong brought Xian and Yifeng to the door of the ninja school. Yifeng also saw Uchiha Itachi, who had been waiting here for a long time. And beside Itachi, there is a girl, Uchiha Izumi. Itachi trotted all the way to Yifeng and smiled shyly. Uchiha Izumi walked over coyly. Yifeng didn't say much, just waited quietly. Ninja school, Yifeng is actually a little bit curious. He wanted to see what this so-called ninja school could bring to him. With the appearance of Yifeng, all the students who came here looked over. Yifeng's appearance is very handsome. Before he officially entered the school, he was already rated as the most handsome guy in the school by these girls. Even Uchiha Itachi can only be ranked second. Yifeng scanned it lightly and quickly withdrew his gaze. Some of the students who come here to prepare for school are 8 or 9 years old, as well as 6 or 7 years old. But the only thing they have in common is that they are both precocious. Yifeng suddenly felt that this is the charm of the second dimension. Okay, everyone, please be quiet. At this time, the first teacher wearing a ninja costume walked in front of everyone. As the first batch of students today, I would like to welcome you all. Next, I invite the third Hokage to come and speak. Hearing this, Yifeng raised his head slightly. In the distance, third Hokage slowly appeared in front of everyone. He had a kind smile on his face, and he looked like a charitable grandfather no matter how he looked. Hypocritical. This is the evaluation given by Yifeng. Next, of course, is a set of will of fire attacks. Wherever the leaves are flying, the fire is endless. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and make new leaves sprout. Quote. After chattering for more than half an hour, Sarutobi Hiruzen slowly left under the admiring eyes of everyone. However, he also noticed a few people standing under the big tree in the distance. Yifeng, Weasel, Shiyan, Quan. Xian Izumi also had a look of yearning on her face. However, Yifeng and Itachi's expressions were completely different. Itachi's face was full of thought. He was thinking, how should the fire shine on the village? Is it like Yifeng Sang said, burning Konoha with a fire? Yifeng's face was full of indifference. It makes it impossible to see his true inner thoughts. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded secretly. Sure enough, he is indeed the genius of Konoha that I like. But I believe you will inherit the will of fire in the school. Until now, Sarutobi Hiruzen has always believed that Yifeng will inherit the will of fire. He is still very confident in his own ideas. Enrollment, formalities, end. That's the end of the first day. I'm just here to report today, and the formal classes will start tomorrow. Yifeng, Xian, Itachi, and Quan were arranged into the same class. At present, 4 people have left the school. Let's go, I'll treat you to a hot spring bath today. Yifeng turned his head and said. Hearing this, Shi Yan's cheeks blushed slightly, but she nodded obediently. Uchiha Quan on the side nodded when he saw Xian, so he had no choice but to nod. Firstly, soaking in hot springs can relieve fatigue, and secondly, hot springs can activate the muscles and veins in the body. So, Yifeng has fallen in love with hot springs since the last time he went there. From time to time, Xian would be invited to take a dip. Seeing that everyone agreed, Yifeng didn't say anything more and set off with the 3 of them. In the Hokage office building, on the top floor, in the office room. Namikaze Minato held the report in his hand and fell into deep thought. Here is the list of ninjas who disappeared from Konoha in the past month. Most of them are mission-free. However, it disappeared in such a strange way. Moreover, he already had an idea. However, he had no right to move that person. In other words, someone was protecting him, but he couldn't take action. At this moment, the door to Hokage's office opened. It's like this again, don't knock on the door, just push it open. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen can do this kind of thing. Namikaze Minato put down the document in his hand and placed it flat on the desk. Just to let the third generation see it. Every name on this document is a life. Haha, today's entrance speech was pretty good. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Minato with a smile. Minato looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a smile on his face and sighed in his heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen, as usual, walked to the office chair and sat down. When he saw the documents on the table, his expression changed. Minato also became quiet. He wanted to see how third generation would handle this matter. After a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen just took these documents into his hands and put them inside his clothes. Minato looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen in astonishment, but he just ignored it. Third generation Sama, those documents, Minato said in a low voice. Just as he was mid-sentence, he was interrupted by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Minato, I have secretly sent someone to investigate this matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen said solemnly. So, don't worry, nothing will happen. Did you send someone secretly to investigate? I do not know how. Minato's brows furrowed. If Anbu's people have any confidential tasks, they will definitely go through him. It seems that either third generation didn't check it at all. Or he just used his private power to investigate. If Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't know who did these things, he wouldn't believe it even if he killed Minato. That person is his disciple. As a teacher, doesn't he know this? At this moment, a voice suddenly appeared in Minato's mind. You're the Hokage. This voice belongs to Yi Feng. Third generation, this matter must be investigated thoroughly. Namikaze Minato's expression gradually calmed down. 37 people have mysteriously disappeared this month. There are several children among them. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned when he heard this. What happened to Minato today? Why is his attitude so tough? Don't worry, I'll check it out. Sarutobi Hiruzen said somewhat unhappy. If this is the case, then I will also send Anbu's elite to investigate with third generation. Minato said. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Minato in front of him. For a moment, he felt that he didn't quite recognize Minato. After a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed heavily. Okay, I'll leave this matter to you. After he finished speaking, he clasped his hands behind his back and left here. This matter was actually Sarutobi Hiruzen's fault, so he also wanted Minato to try to see if he could stop his disciple. Moreover, today's Minato brings a different feeling to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Seeing the third generation leaving here, Minato calmly said in a low voice, Anbu. As soon as he finished speaking, 2 Anbu ninjas appeared here. Take the Anbu elite team to investigate this matter. Pay more attention to the underground base left by Orochimaru before. The 2 Anbu immediately responded, yes. Lord Hokage. Minato has already decided on this matter. As long as he has enough evidence, he will take action. Even if Orochimaru is a disciple of the third generation, he still has to take action. This is just like Yi Feng said, I am Hokage. Both people have said this. The first is Sarutobi Hiruzen and the second is Yi Feng. However, these are 2 completely different meanings. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked Minato to be restrained and not be too high profile. Yi Feng, on the other hand, supports Minato and lets him know who is doing Hokage in Konoha now. Thinking of this, Minato's eyes showed a firm look. Yes, I am the Hokage now. The next morning. Today is the first day of official enrollment. Yi Feng and Shi Yan came to the ninja school together. After entering the classroom, Yi Feng's arrival naturally caused a scream in the class. Yi Feng turned a deaf ear to the screams of these little girls. Yi Feng casually found a seat and sat down. Shi Yan naturally sat on the right side of Yi Feng. Yi Feng placed the black knife on his left side and leaned on his chair. At this moment, suddenly a black shadow came in front of Yi Feng. Yifeng glanced at him sideways. Well, his eyes are dull and he likes to hold a long toothpick in his mouth. Moonlight and wind. It turns out that there is still him in my class. Yifeng never cared about this kind of sidekick before. Hey, give me your seat. Yugong Kaifeng glanced at Mao Yuxian next to Yifeng, and then said in a low voice. Yifeng glanced at Moonlight Blast and lost any interest. From the way he looked in the original novel, I thought he was a master, but he turned out to be completely dead. No wonder he has blood inheritance limit penetration. But it didn't bury his name. Your name is Yifeng, right? My name is Moonlight Gale. Get out of my way quickly. I was interested in this position first. Yugong Gale suddenly became arrogant when he saw Yifeng was silent. Not only that, he also looked at Xian next to Yifeng with a proud look on his face. As if to say, look at me, look at me. Excuse me, is your name written on this table? Yifeng asked lightly. Ah, no. Excuse me, is your name written on this chair? Yifeng asked again. Ah, no. Then get out. Quote. Yifeng is like this, if you are polite to me, then I will naturally be polite to you. On the contrary, Yifeng will not give the other party any face. At this time, a group of students watching the theater had gathered around. After some girls saw what Moonlight Hayate did, they immediately pointed at him and yelled. Moonlight Hayate, you are sick. Why should Yifeng give up his seat to you? Even if you don't look at yourself in the mirror. Look at his pale face. I heard from my sister that this kind of person is very weak and we girls should not have contact with him. Yeah, then we must stay away from Moonlight Blast. Stay away from Moonlight Blast. Hearing the voices of the girls around him, Moonlight Hayate's face turned gloomy. At this time, he looked at Mao Yuxian next to Yifeng. Xian, stop. Don't call me Xian, please call me by my full name. Xian looked at Yugong Gale with disgust. I thought he was pretty good before, but now he's become so annoying. Okay. Yugong Kaifeng laughed angrily, with a dark face, and left here. Yifeng could keenly feel the anger bursting out of the other party just now. With this mentality, you still want to get a wife? Yifeng shook his head. At this moment, a crisp voice came. Yifeng, can I sit on your left side? Yifeng turned his head. Uchiha Spring. A girl who always has a smile on her face. At this time, Uchiha Izumi was looking at him expectantly. Yifeng is not disgusted with Quan. Immediately, he nodded and said, okay. Hehe, thank you. Uchiha Quan heard this, and a full smile suddenly appeared on his pretty face. Facing a cute girl, Yifeng's mood became better. And the girls who gathered around all looked at Xian Izumi with envious looks. Yesterday during the enrollment report, the two of them were by Yifeng's side. Therefore, these people also know that even if they want to sit next to Yifeng, they will be rejected. Yifeng closed his eyes and rested his mind. He was very curious about what his first class in the Hokage world was like. Yifeng sang, I also want to sit next to you. Suddenly, a voice full of resentment reached Yifeng's ears. Opening his eyes, he saw Itachi. Itachi, you're late. Yifeng smiled. Yifeng-san. Uchiha Itachi gritted his teeth and immediately ran to the seat behind Yifeng and sat down. Yifeng scratched his head but didn't say anything. Next, the first class of the Introduction to the Ninja World School began. A teacher walked into the classroom, holding a textbook in his hand. After introducing himself, he began to say slowly, our Konoha village was built with all the efforts of the first Hokage. After saying the first sentence, Yifeng lost any interest. Did first Hokage put all their efforts into building it? What about the Uchiha clan's contribution? Yifeng suddenly understood. He didn't know why Konoha, from the top down to the common people, didn't like the Uchiha clan. It turns out that it has already started from here. Erase all the credit of the Uchiha clan. Then it was all given to Konoha's Hokage. No wonder Konoha's Hokage is so beloved. Uchiha Itachi behind Yifeng also noticed this, but he didn't think much about it. After all, there are some secrets in the family that he doesn't know very well. The third Hokage, Lord Sarutobi Hiruzen, is also recognized as the strongest Hokage. On the podium, the teacher was holding the textbook in his hand and reading aloud. Puff. Yifeng couldn't bear it anymore. This time he really couldn't bear it anymore. I wonder why the third Hokage is praised as the strongest Hokage. That's it, that's it. The third Hokage is the strongest Hokage. Yi Feng shook his head and laughed. Yi Feng-san. Behind him, Uchiha Itachi kindly reminded Yi Feng. Itachi, this ninja school can't teach us anything. Yi Feng said casually. Yi Feng stood up leisurely. Classmate, are you okay? The teacher on the podium paused. Go to the bathroom, Yi Feng said casually. Well, go ahead. Yi Feng picked up the black knife and left the classroom gracefully. Just when the ninja teacher was about to continue his lecture, Itachi also stood up and raised his right hand. What's up? To the restroom. Go. Itachi smiled awkwardly and walked out of the classroom. When he just walked out of the classroom, he saw Yi Feng at the door of the classroom. He leaned against the wall with an indifferent look on his face. Yi Feng-san, Itachi said softly. Let's go. After Yi Feng finished speaking, he walked towards the outside of the school. Shadow clone technique. Boom, boom. As two streaks of smoke appeared, two shadow clone appeared beside Yi Feng and Itachi. At this moment, Yi Feng suddenly felt that the hairs on his body stood on end. I'm being targeted. Who is it? There is no one else here, so to speak, it is the third generation who likes to peek with nothing to do but hold a crystal ball. It's just third generation, Yi Feng doesn't take it to heart at all. Then, Yi Feng nodded to Shadow Clone, jumped with a knife, climbed over the courtyard wall, and left the school. Itachi smiled bitterly at Shadow Clone, then followed closely and left here. The two Shadow Clone continued to return to the classroom to learn. Yi Feng sang, it's not good for us to skip class on the first day of school. Itachi and Yi Feng jumped up and down the big tree quickly. Facing Weasel's question, Yi Feng also thought seriously. After a long time, he said, then let's run away every day from now on. After saying that, he exerted force on his feet and his figure disappeared instantly. Escape every day. Itachi swallowed. This seemed to be even worse. 10 minutes later, the two people arrived at the familiar mountain behind Konoha. And there are already two people waiting here again for a long time. Yi Feng, you are really here. Kakashi looked at Yi Feng helplessly. When Kakashi met Yi Feng this morning, he was told to let him inform Shisui in the morning and then wait for him in the back mountain of Konoha. As a result, Kakashi did not expect that Yi Feng actually skipped class. It's bad behavior to skip class. Shisui also scratched his head and said. Yi Feng tilted his head and looked at Shisui and Kakashi, then swung the black knife and said, in that case, I will strike harder later. Shisui, Kakashi. Then, the devil's training came to an end. Yi Feng challenged 3 with no problem at all. Moreover, Yi Feng also plans to test the move he just developed. High on the Hokage rock, Sarutobi Hiruzen is looking at the crystal in his hand. Among the crystals was Yi Feng, who had just finished casting Shadow Clone. Is Mr. Sarutobi also interested in Yi Feng? At this moment, a cold aura suddenly appeared behind Sarutobi Hiruzen. You're here. Sarutobi Hiruzen picked up the pipe and took a long puff. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely. It's rare for a teacher to be so interested in a student who has just entered the ninja school. Nothing, just take a look. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed the crystal ball and sighed. He looked at Orochimaru in front of him, and a trace of unbearability flashed in his heart. Orochimaru, please calm down a little lately. After a long time, Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a low voice. Oh, I don't know what needs to be restrained. Orochimaru's pupils shrank slightly, and then the corners of his mouth raised slightly. You and I both know. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. Minato has already found a clue. If I really have enough evidence, I will take you down with my own hands. With your own hands. Orochimaru shook his head and laughed. I won't stop. After saying that, Orochimaru turned around and left slowly. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Orochimaru's back, a look of struggle on his face, and finally the struggle turned into a sigh. In the distance, Orochimaru's figure slowly disappeared here. Teacher, you are soft-hearted after all. In the back mountain of Konoha, in the training ground, Yi Feng's right hand tightly grasped the handle of his knife. The thunder attribute chakra in the body is slowly gathering towards the handle of the knife. 3 seconds later, the jet black blade suddenly shone with dazzling lightning. In the distance, Shisui and Kakashi's expressions changed slightly. The two people looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Chakra's properties change, and it's even attached to the weapon. This also shows that Yifeng can control the chakra in his body with ease. What kind of concept is this? It is a skill that only Chunin or even Jonin can master, but Yifeng can display it so easily. One sword style Chidori slash. Yifeng randomly named it. To put it bluntly, it is the combined attack of Chidori and Black Sword. The knife struck him flatly. The dazzling lightning suddenly turned into a crescent shape and attacked Kakashi and Shisui in the distance. Boom, boom. Kakashi and Shisui narrowly avoided Yifeng's attack. The big tree behind them suffered. It was directly penetrated, then exploded, and then turned into a scorch. Another attack that is not weaker than A-level ninjutsu. Kakashi looked back, couldn't help swallowing, and said, "It's too strong." Shisui couldn't help but gasped. With this kind of strength, you can even enter Anbu. At this time, Yifeng was also feeling the chakra in his body. He discovered a status quo. Chakra is energy stored in cells. And his body has entered the second level and has undergone significant changes. The chakra consumed just now was actually replenished in just a few breaths. This makes Yifeng very satisfied. In this case, as long as I still have the strength, I can use the same level of offensive ninjutsu just now. Basically, you can use it as a normal attack. Besides, Yifeng originally named the move just now the ordinary Chidori slash. It was just an attempt. Now Yifeng plans to try to fuse the wind attribute chakra with the black knife. One sword-style wind blade slashes flatly. Yifeng drew his sword directly, injected the wind attribute chakra, and a black wind blade shot directly away. Dozens of large trees were directly cut off. The cuts are so neat. Yifeng looked at the destructive power of his attack and nodded with satisfaction. This kind of power is enough to see. Otherwise, it really may not be able to gain a foothold. On the other side, Kakashi and Shisui looked like they had seen a ghost. Sure enough, comparing people to each other is really annoying. Yifeng cannot be judged by common sense. Continue the practice. Yifeng turned his head and smiled slightly. It was this smile that made Shisui and Kakashi tremble. About 7 or 8 meters to the right, Uchiha Itachi also looked at Yifeng with admiration. Yifeng is very strong, and he must work hard. In this way, the time of practice began. A week passed quietly. Yifeng's gene lock unlocking progress has also increased by 2%, and now it has reached 10.6%. Although Yifeng is training himself crazily every day. However, the effect is no longer very obvious. Therefore, we must find another way. Yifeng did not leave school today because today was the strength test for the first week of admission. It's said to be a test, but it's actually a test of shurikens, and then the students compete against each other. At this time, Konoha School was on the playground. The instructor is already standing in the center of the playground. Immediately he said loudly, "Next, there is a short strength test in the first week of admission. This test is divided into 2 parts. The first part is throwing shuriken. The second part is the test. Okay, now let's start the first test. When my name is called, come forward and throw the shuriken." First place, Uchiha Itachi. Itachi beside Yifeng slowly walked to the center of the playground. He picked up 6 shurikens and took a deep breath. Jumping up, a set of gorgeous throws, all 6 shurikens hit the center. Wow, so awesome. Yeah, not only is he awesome, he's also handsome. Some of the little girls around have begun to see stars in their eyes. Yeah, 10 points. The instructor nodded. Afterwards, everyone started to come on stage one after another. Uchiha Izumi and Azuki Yugo each scored 9 points. As for the others, there were a few good ones, which seemed to hit 8 or 9 points. There are also students from the Inuzuka clan here. However, Yifeng did not pay attention to these family members. 10 minutes later, Yifeng finally arrived. Yifeng walked to the playground coolly, wearing a black martial arts uniform and a knife as black as ink. There was even a hint of surprise in the instructor's eyes. However, it just stopped at being surprised. Yifeng did pay a little attention to it this week. Basically, I fall asleep during class every day. Yifeng was holding a black sword in his left hand and picked up 6 shurikens casually in his right hand. Then he waved his hand casually. After waving, Yi Feng left here without looking back and returned to Itachi's side. The instructor sighed, lowered his head and wanted to write 0 points in the column for Yi Feng's results. At this moment, voices of exclamation sounded. Oh my god, this boy is so charming. Throwing 6 shurikens randomly with one hand, all of them hit the bullseye. Oh my god, Yi Feng is so awesome. The little girls around me have turned into nymphomaniacs. Facing such handsome Yi Feng, they fell instantly. At this time, the instructor also hurriedly turned his head and watched as all 6 shurikens hit the target accurately. He couldn't help but take a breath. Is it coincidence or strength? If it's a coincidence, then it's too much of a coincidence, right? He shook his head. Needless to say, it must be strength. Immediately, he wrote 10 points on Yi Feng's score sheet. On the other side, a boy wearing a turban, with a pale face and a toothpick in his mouth clenched his fists fiercely. The first test is over. The second game is a physical skills competition between students. Okay, the requirement for the second game is that you can only use physical skills. That's it. The instructor coughed lightly and then said loudly. After finishing speaking, he was ready to announce the first group of students who would come forward to compete. Teacher. At this moment, a voice reached the instructor's ears. Moonlight Blast, what's wrong? He looked at Moonlight Blast curiously and asked. I want to challenge Yi Feng. Yu Guangfeng jumped up and came to the competition venue, then raised his head and said loudly. In the audience, Yi Feng slowly opened his eyes. Moonlight Gale, you are sick. Mao Yuxian on the side couldn't help it. She knew that Hayate liked her a little, but she already had someone she liked. The current Gale no longer has any favorability in Shi Yan's eyes. After Yugong Galifeng heard Shi Yan's words, his heart became even more angry. Yi Feng, do you dare to come up and accept my challenge? Yugong Gale shouted. Just as he finished speaking, he felt someone tap him on the shoulder. A black martial arts uniform appeared in front of him. Yi Feng said lightly, why don't you dare? So fast. Yu Guangfeng exerted force on his feet and took a dozen steps back in an instant. At this time, even the instructor on the side showed shock in his eyes. Because, with his Chunin strength, he actually failed to capture Yi Feng's shadow. Doesn't it mean that he is stronger than himself? Seriously, wow, so handsome. Oh my god, I want to marry Yi Feng. I want to give Yi Feng a baby. Some girls who are not too sensible will only say that he is handsome, while some girls who are sensible have already begun to decide where they will end up in the future. What, are you scared? Yi Feng casually took off the black knife and waved to Shi Yan in the distance. Shi Yan quickly ran to Yi Feng's side and obediently held the black knife for him. Afraid? I'm not afraid of you. After hearing Yi Feng's sarcastic words, Yugong Kaifeng's face turned red rapidly. Immediately, he became furious. Without the sword, you are nothing. Come on, I don't believe how strong your physical skills are. Yes, in Moonlight Hayate's eyes, the reason why Yi Feng is so powerful is simply because he has a sword. Yi Feng without a knife, in the eyes of Yugong Gale, is just an ordinary person without any fighting ability. Today, I will let you know who is the strong one in front of Mao Yuxian. Thinking of this, Yugong Gale felt his confidence greatly increased. He took 2 steps forward and came to Yi Feng. Start, the instructor shouted. Immediately, the battle began. Below, Uchiha Quan looked at Yi Feng on the stage with some worry. Xian, do you think Yi Feng can't beat that guy named Yugong Blast? She pulled the corner of Xian's clothes next to her and asked in a low voice. How is that possible? Azuki Xian pursed her lips and smiled, then rubbed Uchiha Azumi's hair. Don't worry, Yi Feng is very powerful, let alone the Moonlight Gale. Even if all of us students join forces, we can't defeat him. Wow, so awesome. Uchiha Quan was slightly surprised. But her contact with Yi Feng was very short, and she didn't speak much even in class. After all, Yi Feng in the classroom is just a shadow clone of Yi Feng's original body. Moreover, during class, you are basically responsible for sleeping. He, just watch. Mao Yuxian was very confident. At this time, above the competition venue, Yi Feng breathed out slowly and said calmly, come. On the opposite side, Yugong Gale roared and rushed towards Yi Feng quickly. He waved his fist and hit Yi Feng hard on the head. It's a tough attack, not bad. Yi Feng smiled sarcastically. Standing there, motionless, he stretched out his hand and clamped down on Moonlight Gale's neck like lightning. Moonlight Gale felt his mind went blank, and by the time he reacted, he was unable to move. Even breathing became difficult. Yi Feng looked at Yu Guangfang, who lost his fighting power in an instant, and couldn't help but laugh at himself. I actually took it a little seriously. Then, with a casual wave of his hand, Yu Guangfang was thrown out of the competition venue by Yi Feng like garbage. 1. The instructors in the field were stunned. How is this a competition? This is an all-round crushing. Moonlight Blast was thrown away like garbage in Yi Feng's hands. Ahem, the first game, Yi Feng wins. The instructor Jianan said hurriedly. After saying that, Yi Feng walked down. Arriving in front of Shi Yan, he stood leisurely. Second round. Next, all the students came forward to compete. After everyone's results were out, school was over. Yi Feng carried the black knife and left with Xian and Itachi. Uchiha Quan gritted his teeth and followed. Yi Feng didn't pay attention to this new little girl. Anyway, I mainly fought with Itachi, Shisui, and Kakashi. Konoha office building. In the Hokage office, Minato looked at the entrance test sheet that had just been delivered to him, with a warm smile on his face. First place, Yi Feng. No doubt. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen also pushed in the door. Minato was used to it. After seeing the third generation, he put away the freshman test sheets. He immediately said, "Third generation, Anbu has already gained some insights. Right now, we must launch an arrest operation as soon as possible." Is there an arrest operation? Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a low voice, then with a solemn face. Okay, this time I will take action personally, and I will be responsible for the entire arrest operation. Minato was stunned. Third generation takes action personally. He always felt that this was a bit unreliable. Don't worry, I'm not the kind of soft-hearted person. Sarutobi Hiruzen lowered his eyes slightly. If that's really the case, I will give you an explanation for Konoha. Seeing such a tough third generation, Minato sighed inwardly and could only agree. Hope everything goes well. Sarutobi Hiruzen left the Hokage building with several Anbu. Minato also took back his thoughts. A body flicker technique and it disappears without a trace. When he appeared again, he had already arrived in the mountains behind Konoha. When he came here, he saw Yi Feng who was training. Yi Feng also sensed Minato, stopped practicing, and came to Minato. Congratulations, Minato said with a smile. Yi Feng, you are now the #1 freshman. To celebrate you, come and have dinner at my house today at noon, I'll treat you. Then, Minato looked at Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Izumi, and he smiled and said, Itachi and Izumi, you guys should come too. Yi Feng narrowed his eyes slightly, and he could see that Minato sincerely invited Itachi and Izumi. It's not because of being here. It seems that Minato also has some thoughts about the Uchiha clan. Okay, let's go together. Yi Feng said with a smile. By the way, should we buy some food to take with us? I have already prepared this. Minato said seriously. You can let other things go, but this matter must be sorted out. Not that Uzumaki Kushina's food is unpalatable. After all, you are inviting others to your home, so you can't really eat dark food. Half an hour later, everyone arrived at Minato's house. After Uzumaki Kushina saw Yi Feng and others, a happy smile suddenly appeared on her face. She has had little contact with outsiders since she was pregnant. After all, she is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. If you have too much contact with outsiders, the news of your pregnancy will inevitably spread. You know, when Jinchuriki is giving birth, the Nine-Tails seal is at its weakest. If this matter were to be known to other ninja villages, maybe something will happen. After all, the ninja world is not peaceful right now. There are no big battles, but small battles continue. Now Kushina's belly has a slight bulge. Yi Feng smacked his tongue slightly. Sasuke was born in July and Naruto was born in October. Spring is here now, and soon a lot of things will happen in Konoha. After a while, Minato had already served all the prepared meals. I'm going to start. Quote. After the meal, everyone sat on the sofa to rest. Minato went to clean up the leftovers, and Uzumaki Kushina sat next to Yi Feng. She often heard Minato praise Yi Feng. Moreover, the person who can attract Minato must have something outstanding about him. Oops, I can't tell. If I look at you carefully, Yifeng, I think you are still very handsome. Uzumaki Kushina chuckled. I just don't know how many girls will chase you in the future. Hehe, that scene should be very beautiful. Yifeng looked at the carefree Uzumaki Kushina in front of him. Couldn't help but smile. Then, Yifeng slowly focused his eyes on Kushina's belly. Nine Tails is sealed there, and it is also the complete version of Nine Tails that combines yin and yang. The full version of Nine Tails is very powerful. Except for the powerful sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan, most people really can't suppress Nine Tails. Of course, Mangekyo Sharingan can also subdue Nine Tails. There is also a Senju Hashirama. As for others, it's really hard to say. Naruto. At this time, Minato also walked over with a smile. When our child is born, his name will be Naruto. He said to Yifeng. Yifeng nodded. What a good name. Can this name be bad? This name has accompanied many people's youth. At this time, Uzumaki Kushina was looking at Yifeng with a strange look. In fact, since she became pregnant, the Nine Tails in her belly has been a little uneasy. Especially as time goes by, she can basically feel the stinging sensation caused by Nine Tails. However, just when Yifeng looked at his lower abdomen, the tingling sensation disappeared instantly. Even Uzumaki Kushina felt it was a bit magical that Nine Tails, who was fearless, had just given up on the impact seal. Is it because of Yifeng? Uncle Nine Tails, you are not afraid of that guy named Yifeng. At this moment, a soul roar reached Uzumaki Kushina's ears. Uzumaki Kushina immediately dived into the spiritual world. She looked at Nine Tails, a little curious. The Nine Tails in front of him was lying on the ground quietly. And its body is wrapped with many chains. This is the sealing technique exclusive to the Uzumaki clan, adamantine sealing chains. Nine Tails, it's rare to see you so quiet. Uzumaki Kushina curled her lips and said. What, do you still want to experience pain? Nine Tails opened his mouth. Then why did you stop just now? Uzumaki Kushina asked curiously. You don't understand even if I tell you. Nine Tails tilted his head. Tell me, maybe I will understand. Uzumaki Kushina was really curious now. The kid named Yifeng just now has power in his body that is not of this world. Nine Tails narrowed his eyes and said slowly. Ah, Uzumaki Kushina was stunned for a moment. How does this power compare to yours? Nonsense. Compared with me, you are definitely far behind. Nine Tails roared. Immediately, it became quiet again, but I can feel it. If you give him time, when the energy in his body explodes. After saying this, it closed its mouth and stopped talking. No matter what Uzumaki Kushina said or begged, Nine Tails would not move. You can't let him admit that when Yifeng's energy explodes, maybe he won't be his opponent. For now, we are still waiting for you to give birth and gather our strength first. Yifeng's unintentional move actually directly saved the pain caused by Nine Tails to the Whirlpool Kushina in the past few months. To the outside world, Yifeng was actually using his own perception just now. He could feel the existence of Nine Tails, a very violent conscious energy body. The current self will definitely not be able to defeat Nine Tails. Therefore, after sensing Nine Tails, Yifeng only felt that he had to quickly activate the third-level gene lock. Otherwise, when the Nine Tails rebellion breaks out, what strength can I use to protect those around me? Thinking of this, the desire to become stronger is once again deepened. Yifeng narrowed his eyes gently. It seemed that it was time to be more high-profile. Chapter 31. Ordinary training can no longer make Yifeng achieve much breakthrough. It must be practiced between life and death. The next day, ninja school. What, you want to choose graduation? The instructor was stunned after hearing what Yifeng said. No way. Yifeng held the black knife and smiled. The instructor became a little embarrassed. He had only been in school for a few days and had already graduated. Teacher, according to the regulations of the ninja school, we can graduate early, as long as we complete the graduation assessment in advance. On the side, Uchiha Itachi said slowly, the content of the assessment is 2 of the transformation technique, body replacement technique, and clone technique. Here, I want to ask Mr. Hokage for instructions. The instructor sighed. He naturally knows the strength of Itachi and Yifeng, and they are probably not weaker than Genin. If you want to graduate early, of course you can. Okay. Itachi nodded, then came to Yifeng's side and stood still. Yifeng smiled secretly. Having someone running errands to talk to him saved him a lot of trouble. The instructor left here quickly. Yifeng and Itachi waited here leisurely. Half an hour later, the instructor returned here after asking for instructions from the Hokage. Master Hokage has agreed. Well, let's start the assessment. Transformation technique. Transformation technique. Quote. Clone technique. Clone technique. Congratulations to you two, you passed the Genin test. From now on you will be Konoha's Genin. Hokage-sama told me that if you pass the test, a special instructor, Jonin, will be there to lead you at Konoha's 7th training ground at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yifeng and Itachi have obtained the ninja forehead protector. Looking at the Konoha Genin forehead protector in his hand, Yifeng raised the corners of his mouth slightly. He is now considered a Genin of Konoha. You should be able to walk sideways in the ninja world, right? After all, Konoha's Genin is relatively invincible. At this time, many people had gathered outside the test classroom. The door opened slowly, and Yifeng and Weasel walked out leisurely. And Itachi's forehead protector has been tied to Konoha Genin's forehead protector. Yifeng's right arm is also tied with Konoha's ninja forehead protector. Passed. Mao Yuxian quickly came to Yifeng's side and said with envy. She originally wanted to graduate with Yifeng. After all, she knew transformation technique, body replacement technique, and clone technique. However, Yifeng rejected her. Just kidding, you are now a Genin after graduation, and this is the time of the Great Ninja War. Genin is the cannon fodder sent to the battlefield. Yes, Yifeng's next goal is to go to the battlefield to experience himself. With such a dangerous matter, Yifeng would naturally not let Shi Yan take the risk. And Mao Yuxian also knew that Yifeng was doing this for her own good, so she didn't get angry and agreed to Yifeng. Yes, passed. Yifeng smiled. Let's go take a dip in a hot spring to celebrate. Hearing this, Shi Yan's cheeks turned slightly red and she nodded. Uchiha Itachi wanted to go back and talk to his father, so he didn't follow him. Today, Yifeng did not practice, but walked around Konoha village with Xian. If he really leaves the village, he won't have much time to spend with Xian. Yifeng has decided that he must leave Konoha village and fight on the battlefield. Otherwise, how to strengthen yourself? If you don't strengthen yourself, how can you protect those around you? Yifeng has always believed in a saying that if you don't push yourself, you won't know how good you are. Pressure is motivation. As night falls, the trip to the hot springs begins. After soaking in the hot spring, Yifeng leaned in the pavilion outside and waited quietly for Shi Yan. A few minutes later, Xian also walked out. Yifeng smiled and said, "Go back." Shi Yan nodded obediently. The night was very quiet, and a black dress and a purple shadow formed the most beautiful picture. Dark and moist underground roots. Orochimaru looked at the corpse in front of him with a look of madness on his face. It's just a little bit close, just a little bit close. I'm just a little bit close to succeeding. Living corpse reincarnation technique. The S-class forbidden technique developed by Orochimaru with all his efforts. You can let your soul invade the other person's body and then control it. And he can also use everything in the other person's body, including blood inheritance limit. At this time, the door to the secret room was slowly opened. Shimura Danzo walked in with a frown. Orochimaru, how's the human experiment going? At this time, Shimura Danzo couldn't wait any longer. As the village becomes more stable, the new Hokage Namikaze Minato becomes more and more popular among the people. If this continues, in a few years, I will never be able to ride the Hokage. 99% completed. Orochimaru wiped the blood from his hands. Turn around and squint. It's just that there is one small problem. What's the problem? Shimura Danzo frowned. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely and pointed at Shimura Danzo's right eye. It's nothing if you suppress a Sharingan. However, when all the Hashirama cells are transplanted into your body will be irreversibly damaged because it cannot withstand the power of the Hashirama cells. Shimura Danzo lowered his eyes slightly and did not speak. He was waiting for Orochimaru's next words. You need the same chakra to be transplanted into your body in exchange for balance. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes, then stuck out his tongue and licked his mouth. So, you want Sharingan? Shimura Danzo said in a low voice. Not just Sharingan, I also need the Uchiha tribesmen who have opened their eyes alive. A glimmer of light reflected in Orochimaru's eyes. Obviously, he has done whatever it takes for his own human experiments. Shimura Danzo's expression also changed. Of course he knew Orochimaru's purpose. Likewise, he also has his own purpose. Okay, I'll handle this matter. Shimura Danzo said in a low voice. Also, you have been more restrained recently. If you want to conduct experiments on living subjects, I will arrest some people from the surrounding small villages. Orochimaru smiled hoarsely and nodded. However, there was no sign of restraint on his face. My research progress is almost reaching success. As long as you succeed, you can live forever. Only when you live forever can you have time to understand the truth of this world. Konoha Village. Don't wait. Winter has completely passed. Spring is coming and everything comes to life. Konoha's 7th training ground. This is a very magical place. There are many people here. Starting from Konoha Sannin, Orochimaru, Tsunade, Jiraiya. Then go to Kakashi, Obito, and Lin. Then came Naruto, Sasuke, and little Sakura. Is this a bond? Yi Feng tilted his head and looked at Uchiha Itachi who was following behind him. After Itachi saw Yi Feng looking at him, he smiled shyly. This Itachi is still nice and very sensible. If he hadn't been instilled with the will of fire in the original work, he wouldn't be so stupid later on. Became a traitor to the Uchiha clan. The will of fire makes Yi Feng want to vomit. When they arrived at the 3 wooden piles, Yi Feng and Weasel waited quietly. Yi Feng is also curious about who his team leader Jonin will be. 5 minutes later, 2 figures appeared here, Minato and Kakashi. Yi Feng, Itachi, congratulations on you, you will be an outstanding genin from now on. Minato put a smile on his face. Kakashi scratched his head and walked to Yi Feng's side. Seeing this, Yi Feng clicked his tongue. 4th generation, Kakashi shouldn't be our leader Jonin. No, no, no. Kakashi waved his hands hurriedly. Although he was Jonin now, he was not sure about Yi Feng. From now on, I will be your leader Jonin. Minato turned around and smiled brightly. Hokage-sama, Itachi exclaimed. He had never expected that it would be Hokage himself who would lead the team. Yeah, Minato glanced at Kakashi and said, the genin team is composed of 3 people working together. Because you are the fastest graduating genin in this class, and no other genin can match you. So, from now on, Kakashi will be your teammate. Kakashi on the side heard this and trembled slightly. It's not that he can't let go of the past, but that he still has some struggles deep inside. All the people who were teammates with him did not end well. He was afraid that his bad luck would bring Yi Feng and Itachi. Kakashi, please give me more advice in the future. At this time, a clear voice reached Kakashi's ears. Turning his head, Yi Feng's confident and unruly smile immediately gave Kakashi great confidence. Yes, he is Yi Feng. You can't judge based on common sense. Yi Feng has brought a lot of shock to himself after being together for such a long time. Thinking of this, Kakashi suddenly felt relieved. He smiled and said, please give me some advice. Well, if that's the case, then I will arrange the tasks based on the combat prowess of the 3 of you. Minato looked at the 3 people in front of him and said, fight with me and let me find out your strength. Good. Battle against Golden Flash Namikaze Minato. Yi Feng is still very interested. After all, I haven't really tried my best yet. Because I have never met an opponent. Start. Minato waved his hand, and after saying that, his figure disappeared in an instant. Itachi and Kakashi are both Yi Feng's old rivals, so they naturally work well together. Minato, who was hiding in a big tree, nodded with satisfaction. This kind of tacit understanding is no less than that of teams that have been working together for many years. Next, it's time to look at the strength. One sword-style wind blade slashes flatly. At this moment, Minato felt cold sweat pouring down his back, and activated the body flicker technique without thinking. And the next second he left, the big tree he was hiding in was suddenly turned into small wooden pieces all over the sky by the wind blade. Minato was slightly startled, turned around and saw Yi Feng. When you come behind yourself, then the Yi Feng in front of you is the shadow clone. Minato was really shocked now. He actually arranged a shadow clone to lure the enemy in such a short period of time. This method of fighting is a bit weaker than those ninjas on the battlefield. Talent. This is definitely a talent. Minato's eyes lit up. Combat talent. Lightning style. Chidori. On the right, Kakashi has lifted up his forehead protector, and has a Chidori on his right hand. At this moment, he was rushing towards Minato. Fire style. Impatience claw red. On the left side, Itachi made a lightning-like seal and quickly activated fire style ninjutsu. Fire style, combined with shurikens, has blocked Minato's blind spots in all directions. And above the sky, Yi Feng once again condensed a wind blade to slash. There is really no way out now. Minato stood there extremely calmly. He smiled and said, "Sure enough, you are the best." At this time, Minato was completely impressed by the three of them. This kind of tacit understanding of combat cooperation almost took less than a minute. You can force a Jonin into a blind corner. The next second, the attack came as expected. At this moment, a golden light suddenly appeared. Flying Thunder God Technique. Minato has no choice. He can't really use ninjutsu to fight back. So I had to use the Flying Thunder God Technique to escape. In the distance, on the trunk of a big tree, Minato's figure instantly appeared here. And on the tree trunk at his feet was a three-pronged kunai. This is a kunai he specially created in order to use the Flying Thunder God Technique. It's called the Sword of Ninja Love. At this moment, Minato felt cold all over his body. This is the sign before death. Behind the tree trunk, Yi Feng's black knife had reached Minato's back. It only takes one stab to penetrate Minato's body. Yi Feng, you are so strong. Minato shook his head and smiled bitterly. I lost. He is not calm at all now. I left the Flying Thunder God kunai here in advance. How did Yi Feng discover it? He was full of doubts. In the distance, Itachi and Kakashi also quickly arrived here. Yi Feng behind them disappeared without a trace with a bang. Seeing this scene, Minato's pupils shrank slightly. It's actually a shadow clone. The two shadow clone are responsible for luring the enemy, and then the main body will give a fatal blow here. Yi Feng and Minato jumped down from the tree. In fact, Yi Feng also knew that the Minato just now could actually leave through the Flying Thunder God Technique. After all, the title of Golden Flash is not just talk. I also have an understanding of your combat power. You can make some adjustments in the past few days. Minato said with a smile on his face, the next time we meet, it will be time to go on a mission. Itachi and Kakashi nodded at the same time, and Yi Feng also smiled secretly in his heart. Is the mission finally coming? I hope it can be a little exciting. Now he can no longer unlock the genetic lock through exercise. There must be a real life and death fight. Teacher. Just when Minato was about to leave, Yi Feng suddenly said. Now, Minato is already the leader of the three of them, Jonin, so Yi Feng changed his name from fourth generation to teacher. What's wrong? Minato looked at Yi Feng, the most outstanding of the three. He did not ask Yi Feng how he could see the kunai he left on the big tree before. Everyone has their own secrets and trump cards, which he will not dig into. I hope this first mission won't be too easy. Yi Feng said. That's it for now, the rest depends on Minato's arrangement. Minato looked at Yi Feng, and after a long time, he nodded heavily. Good. He knows what Yi Feng means, he wants to experience himself. Therefore, this mission naturally cannot be a D level or C level mission. You have to be at level B to start. However, thinking about the presence of Kakashi, the Jonin, Minato felt less worried. But there is another Uchiha Itachi in their team. When he saw Uchiha Itachi, Minato sighed helplessly. In Konoha village, the other families were okay, at least they would interact with the common people of Konoha. But the Uchiha clan is different. Because of the suppression from second Hokage and third Hokage. In addition, the base has moved to the outskirts of Konoha, so the Uchiha clan has already formed a stumbling block with the top management of Konoha. Normally, the Uchiha clan's guards would bully others. As a result, no civilians are willing to contact the Uchiha clan. As time accumulates, the division between the Uchiha clan and Konoha has become more and more serious. Minato really wants to improve the relationship between Konoha and the Uchiha clan. However, he never had a chance to find an entry point. Now may be a good time. Since I can't use my identity as Konoha Hokage to meet the leader of the Uchiha clan. Then, as teacher Itachi, I will go to the head office. Thinking of this, Minato has made up his mind. Well, I have one more thing to do before leaving the village for the mission. Minato looked at Uchiha Itachi with a smile on his face. What's going on? Itachi asked. As your teacher, I'm going to visit your home. This home visit was something Yi Feng did not expect. After all, Minato is now the Hokage of Konoha village. In addition, there is a gap between Konoha village and the Uchiha clan. Basically no one in Konoha wants to have too much contact with the Uchiha clan. Minato is also very clear about this. However, he wanted to change the status quo. Aren't the people of the Uchiha clan from Konoha? Why should it be treated so differently? Minato had already cared about this before doing Hokage. Now he has become a Hokage. It is really necessary to take a closer look at the internal affairs of the Uchiha clan. In the evening, Minato finished his work at Hokage and came to Yi Feng's house early. Seeing Minato's somewhat coquettish look, Yi Feng knew that he wanted to take him with him. Let's go, teacher. Yi Feng smiled, carried the black knife, and walked outside. Minato also felt grateful. He had previously learned some of Yi Feng's views on the will of fire from Kakashi. From then on, Minato no longer looked at Yi Feng as a child. Moreover, Minato really began to reflect on the proposals he mentioned at that time. Right now, he wanted to know about the internal conflicts within the Uchiha clan. So he wanted to use this home visit to get a better understanding. However, Minato still felt unsure if he was allowed to go alone. But when Yi Feng was invited to join him, Minato was filled with confidence. Yi Feng, tell me how to change the current situation of the Uchiha clan. On the way, Minato tilted his head and looked at Yi Feng beside him. Yi Feng said casually, it's very simple, it just depends on the wishes of the higher-ups in Konoha. High-level officials in Konoha. Minato nodded. One sentence hits the point. The Uchiha clan is not such an inhumane race by nature. It's just that all of them were smeared by Konoha's top brass. The purpose of Konoha's top management is to isolate the Uchiha clan. In order to achieve their centralized control, if they continue to delegate power to the Uchiha clan. The top management of Konoha are also very worried about whether Konoha will become the back garden of the Uchiha clan. Both sides have their own suspicions. Along the way, Minato and Yi Feng did not conceal their whereabouts. Many civilians and ninjas were talking along the way. Isn't that direction where the Uchiha clan is stationed? Yes, Master Hokage is going to the Uchiha clan's headquarters. It looks like it should be. Why should you go? Everyone in the Uchiha clan looks aloof and condescending. It makes me uncomfortable to see them. Keep your voice down, don't let Master Hokage hear you. Quote. The surrounding ninjas and civilians continued to discuss. Yi Feng and Minato naturally heard all these discussions. Oh, Minato sighed, this is the last comment I want to hear. Yi Feng was slightly surprised. He could tell that Minato meant it. He really wants to change the current situation of the Uchiha clan and Konoha. Okay, since you are the sister of Yongdai, I will help you later. Yi Feng smiled casually. This Minato has begun to look a little different from the original. Although Minato in the original novel also only thinks about Konoha. Unfortunately, there were too few means and he died too early. Now, it would be fun to see Minato's changes. Besides, Minato is still on his side. Then I'll thank you Yi Feng for Konoha. A warm smile once again appeared on Minato's face. I'm not doing this for Konoha. Yi Feng said casually. Konoha currently does not have this qualification. Minato scratched his head. Soon the two people arrived in front of the Uchiha clan's residence. Lord Hokage. In front of the Uchiha clan's station, two Uchiha clan members had expressions of disbelief on their faces after seeing Minato. Please inform the clan leader that Jonin, Itachi's guide, is coming for a home visit. Minato said with a smile. Okay. Uchiha's tribesmen nodded, and went in to deliver the message with a bewildered expression. Deep inside the Uchiha station, in a mansion, You mean, the fourth Hokage came to the door of our Uchiha clan without any cover-up? The leader was sitting upright with a majestic look on his face. Uchiha Fugaku, the current leader of the Uchiha clan. Yes. Below, the tribesman who came to report immediately replied. Invited in. Fugaku nodded. After the tribesman left, Fugaku murmured. It was not concealed so that others could see it. Is his purpose to reintegrate the Uchiha clan into Konoha? At noon, Itachi also told Fugaku about the Uchiha clan that Minato was coming to. Although, Minato was talking about Itachi's teacher coming to visit his home. However, in the eyes of outsiders, it means something else. Soon, Minato and Yifeng arrived at the mansion together. Chief Fugaku. Minato still had such a warm smile on his face. Please take a seat. Fugaku also smiled and took Minato and Yifeng to sit down. Fourth generation, thank you for taking care of our Itachi. Fugaku said. You're welcome, Chief Fugaku. I am now Itachi's instructor Jonin-sensei. Taking care of him is what I should do. Minato said with a smile. This time, I want to ask the Fugaku clan leader. Now, Yifeng, Kakashi, and Itachi have formed a new activity group. I will also send some tasks to them in the future. I don't know what the Fugaku clan leader wants. Minato's words have hit the mark. From now on, Yifeng, Kakashi, and Itachi will begin their mission. Since it is a mission, there will naturally be some casualties. He wanted to know what Fugaku meant. After all, Itachi is the son of Fugaku, the leader of the Uchiha clan. It's impossible for Minato to turn a blind eye to this important identity. This is naturally in line with the purpose of fourth generation. Fugaku smiled casually. My son is not a flower in the greenhouse. Speaking of this, Fugaku also showed a proud smile on his face. Just kidding, Itachi had already followed him to the battlefield at the age of 3. Are you still afraid of these ordinary tasks? Minato nodded secretly. Sure enough, Fugaku's behavior and style were very correct. The fourth generation is here now, probably not just for this matter. Fugaku added. After finishing speaking, there was some silence in the hall. Itachi on the side also felt the solemn atmosphere and had no choice but to turn his gaze to Yifeng. Yifeng, on the other hand, had an indifferent look on his face. He was waiting for Minato. If Minato ends the topic, that's it. Chief Fugaku, I have one more thing to do when I come here. Minato took a deep breath, raised his head and looked at Uchiha Fugaku with burning eyes. What's the matter? Uchiha Fugaku's expression also changed slightly. He saw determination in Minato's eyes. I want to bring the Uchiha clan and Konoha back together. Minato said seriously. After speaking, the hall fell silent again. After a long time, Fugaku whispered, how to get back together. One sentence left Minato speechless. Yes, how can we get back together? The schism between Konoha and the Uchiha clan had been going on for so long. How to get back together? Trouble. At this moment, a neither salty nor bland voice rang out. Everyone looked at Yifeng. Yifeng stood up leisurely. He looked at Minato and said calmly, Minato-sensei, can you represent Konoha? Minato was stunned for a moment, then whispered, no. Yifeng nodded, and then he looked at Uchiha Fugaku, who was at the top of the list. Then Chief Fugaku, can you represent the Uchiha clan? Can't. Fugaku shook his head, although he is now the leader of the Uchiha clan. But in fact, his position is similar to Minato. Not all rights are in your own hands. There is actually polarization within the Uchiha clan. Some are hawks, some are doves. Fugaku's heart is actually towards some doves. The same is true for the higher-ups in Konoha. Danzo is a typical hawk, and Sarutobi Hiruzen is a half-hawk. As for the other two Konoha senior officials, Mitokado Homura and Udatane Kaharu are also more hawkish. As for the doves, the only one is Minato. If you want to get back together, you only need 2 conditions. Yifeng held out 2 fingers calmly. As long as these 2 conditions are met, getting back together is only a matter of time. What conditions? What conditions? Fugaku and Minato asked at the same time. Clearness and recognition, Yifeng said casually. Purge Konoha, purge the Uchiha clan. It is very easy to say the word, clean up. However, if you want to do it, it is not something that ordinary people can accomplish. Recognition. Everyone hopes to be recognized by others. On the other hand, the Uchiha clan. Don't their people want to be recognized by the people in Konoha? No one is born dislike other people. All this is caused by environmental factors. As long as the general environment changes, it is only a matter of time before things get back together. Fugaku and Minato looked at each other and saw deep shock in each other's eyes. It turned out that the two of them had always underestimated Yi Feng. It wasn't that they were looking down on him, but they didn't expect that Yi Feng could think so deeply. And, to the point, Yi Feng, the teacher has learned a lesson today. Minato bowed to Yi Feng seriously. The eyelids of Fugaku, who was sitting in the front seat, twitched slightly. He has never felt this kind of energy from other high-level officials in Konoha. Even the third Hokage. Yi Feng smiled and accepted it calmly. Although he is only 5 or 6 years old now, Yi Feng's mental age has already surpassed Minato's. Facing Minato's bow, Yi Feng could not bear it. Chief Fugaku, although I know the chances are slim. But, slim doesn't mean there is none. I won't miss any opportunity. Minato turned around and said to Fugaku with a smile. I really hope for the day when the Uchiha clan and Konoha can reconcile. I hope too. Fugaku thought for a long time and said seriously. Now that the main conversation is in place, Minato and Yi Feng are invited by Fugaku. Stayed here and had a great dinner. Yi Feng doesn't care about the later development of Konoha and the later development of the Uchiha clan. It has little to do with myself. All I want is to be strong and be able to protect those around me. If you have 1 or 2 close friends and 2 or 3 beauties, why not be happy? Konoha office building, Hokage office room. Minato held a document in his hand and frowned. This is a border emergency document. It's a secret letter from the Hyuga clan. Cloud Shinobi Village and Kurikage Village suddenly launched a joint border attack. The ninjas we left here have suffered heavy casualties. We must send support ninjas here. The border of the country of fire is now in crisis. At this time, Sarutobi Hiruzen also pushed in the door. He also received such a document just now. 3rd generation. Minato suddenly stood up. We must send ninja troops to support. No, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and said, there are not that many ninjas in Konoha village now. How do you know if this is a plan by Cloud Shinobi Village and Kurikage Village? What if they sneak up on us when Konoha is at its most empty? Anbu's people can be used. Minato took a deep breath. At this time, 4th generation is still standing still. Are you afraid that Konoha will be captured and lose its current status? Suddenly, Minato just felt ridiculous. The 3rd generation has changed. No, Anbu's people have their tasks. Sarutobi Hiruzen said immediately. Minato took a deep breath, then raised his head and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen. 3rd generation, you told me before that I am the Hokage of Konoha. A pair of azure eyes, clear and translucent, but his tone had an unmistakable flavor. For a moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly felt like he didn't recognize Minato anymore. After a long time, he sighed in a low voice, yes, now you are the Hokage of Konoha. Anbu, just watch the call. Anbu was originally Hokage's direct guard and was not controlled by anyone. 3rd generation has always enjoyed this feeling of control, so it has been slow to let go. Right now, Minato's attitude was so tough that he had no choice. Sarutobi Hiruzen left here silently. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. Anbu, lead 20 groups of Anbu elites to join Hyuga Hazashi at the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Thunder. In the afternoon, Minato called Kakashi, Yi Feng and Itachi to the Hokage office. There is a war on the border of the Land of Fire. I have sent all Anbu from Konoha out. So, Anbu's escort mission is left to the 3 of you. This is an A-level escort mission. Minato took out a scroll with a solemn expression. Here is the content of the escort mission. After Yi Feng took it, he opened it and took a look. It is a confidential escort mission, a collaboration between Konoha Village and Unokuni. The content of the mission is to safely bring another scroll to the country of Yu. However, there will be many wandering ninjas around Uno country staring at this document. There is even a presence of Jonin among them. Moreover, wandering and rebellious ninjas from various countries will appear. Therefore, the task was defined as an A-level task. Kakashi has performed many missions before, so this time I let Kakashi lead the team. Minato said. Yeah, Yi Feng and Itachi nodded at the same time. Yi Feng has never left the village once, so letting Kakashi lead the team is the safest choice. The mission has begun. I wish you all a safe return. Minato stood up and said extremely seriously. Dark and moist underground roots. A man wearing a tiger skin mask is staring at Shimura Danzo in front of him. Oh, you said you want a living experimental subject from the Uchiha clan. Under the tiger skin mask, a ferocious scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan slowly rotated. Although I don't know who you are, I know everything about your recent activities around Konoha. Furthermore, you frequently visit the Uchiha clan's residence. I'm not wrong. Shimura Danzo lowered his eyes slightly. He discovered this man when he was observing the Uchiha clan in the past few days. He possesses a weird space-time ninjutsu. He can't catch him and can't see through him. Do you know what I want? Uchiha Obito's eyes showed sarcasm. Although I don't know what you want, as long as you can fulfill my request, I will naturally agree to your request. Shimura Danzo narrowed his eyes. Shimura Danzo, you are the first person who dares to make a deal with me. Uchiha Obito smiled coldly. Uchiha Obito has returned to Konoha these days and infiltrated the Uchiha clan. Naturally, he wants to use Mangekyo to decipher the Uchiha clan stone tablet. He wanted to know whether what Uchiha Madara said to him at that time was correct. As a result, I was invited here by people from the route. Then, this scene happened. Everyone takes what they need. Shimura Danzo whispered. Next time I come here, I want the exact time of Uzumaki Kushina's delivery. Uchiha Obito's voice came indifferently. Immediately, a space Uzumaki slowly appeared, and Uchiha Obito's figure also slowly disappeared. May I ask your name? Shimura Danzo took a deep breath and asked. Uchiha Madara. As the indifferent voice disappeared, Obito's figure also disappeared without a trace. Shimura Danzo's expression suddenly changed. Uchiha Madara. Impossible. He is dead. He has been dead for decades. Who is he? Having this uncanny means, and also having Sharingan. Could it be that Uchiha Madara is not dead? After Shimura Danzo thought for a moment, he smiled coldly. So what if you are Uchiha Madara and want to know when Uzumaki Kushina gives birth? Do you want to destroy Konoha? It's really your style, Uchiha Madara. Unfortunately, when I fuse Hashirama cells and Sharingan, even you may not be my opponent. You can even use this to become the new Hokage in one fell swoop. Thinking of this, Shimura Danzo also had a crazy look on his face. You want to use me, why do I also want to use you? The next day, at the gate of Konoha village. Sister, don't worry, we will return safely. Yi Feng looked at Shiraihong with a look of reluctance and said with a smile. Brother, although you are very strong now, there are many people who are better than you. You must come back safely, got it? Yu Hihong said worriedly. Don't worry. Yi Feng smiled confidently, turned around with the black knife in his hand. At the same time, Kakashi and Itachi followed Yi Feng, one on the left and the other on the right. Obviously, they have regarded Yi Feng as their backbone. The mission is to escort the secret scroll to the country of Yu. Right now, the strength of the three Yi Feng and Kakashi can be equal. If the second level of strength breaks out, Yi Feng is stronger than Kakashi. Finally, there's Uchiha Itachi. Now he is only 6 years old, and his strength is no weaker than some Chunin. There are 2 Jonin and 1 Chunin. As long as this team doesn't encounter anyone who is particularly pervert, there is basically no danger. Unless, just half a day after they left Konoha village. In a dense green jungle, a black figure slowly appeared here. Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Obito whispered. In the past few days, he had been involved in the internal activities of the Uchiha clan and also discovered Itachi who was training hard. Perhaps, this person can be used for himself. After an Uzumaki space fluctuation, he disappeared without a trace. It takes about 2 days to travel from Konoha village to Unokuni. At this time, night has fallen. Yi Feng and Weasel had already rested. Kakashi was responsible for keeping watch until midnight. Kakashi didn't even notice it. On top of a big tree 100 meters away, Uchiha Obito's figure slowly appeared. The moment he saw Kakashi, His body moved slightly. Obito, are you reluctant to give up? A strange voice sounded from Yifeng. This is the sound made by Fei who is possessed by Obito. There is nothing to be reluctant to part with. Uchiha Obito quickly calmed down and his voice became extremely cold. Everything in this world is false, even Kakashi. In another world, there will be Kakashi. Then, Obito took out a black kunai in his hand, and his figure slowly disappeared again. The next second, Yifeng was in the camp of several people. A jet black kunai suddenly stabbed Yifeng hard from the right side of him. There was no warning. Yifeng, Kakashi shouted loudly. The pupils are filled with disbelief. Because that hand actually stretched out directly from the void. It's over, Uchiha Obito said indifferently, just when he thought he was about to succeed. Yifeng, who was leaning against the big tree, suddenly opened his eyes. A pair of pitch black eyes suddenly burst out with a strange black light. One sword style. Black blade slashes flatly. Life and death in an instant. Yifeng directly unlocked the second level gene lock. The black knife in his hand brought out a black light. Directly pierced Uchiha Obito's mask. However, Yifeng did not penetrate the real feeling. At this time, Obito's hand also penetrated Yifeng's arm. Obviously, at that moment, Obito activated Kamui Hollow's ability. Obito quickly distanced himself and stood quietly looking at Yifeng. He had no idea how this guy who didn't look strong at all could be so powerful. At this time, Kakashi and Itachi also hurriedly took out the short sword on their backs and looked at Uchiha Obito with wary expressions. At this moment, Yifeng felt that the blood in his body was boiling. In the moment of life and death just now, Yifeng felt that his genetic lock had been broken through again. Sure enough, life and death experience is the opportunity for breakthrough. And he also recognized the man wearing a tiger skin mask in front of him. Uchiha Obito, a poor man, arranged to death by Uchiha Madara. However, it is undeniable that he is very strong now. Kamui Mangekyo was turned on, and Hashirama cells were transplanted into his body. The consumption caused by Mangekyo is gone. As the saying goes, being black is 10 times stronger and whitening is 3 times weaker. The current Obito is a typical example of being 10 times stronger in black. Yifeng could feel the black knife trembling in his hand. It was a thrill of excitement. This is the excitement of facing a powerful enemy for the first time. I'll be the main attacker, and you guys will cover. Yifeng smiled faintly. Holding the black knife, his feet instantly exerted force. In an instant, the whole person was in front of Uchiha Obito. So fast, Uchiha Obito didn't have time to react. He didn't even have time to use hollow. He could only pick up the kunai to resist. One sword style. Chidori slashes flatly. A dazzling lightning suddenly appears. It hit Obito's lower abdomen directly. However, he used Kamui Hollow to avoid it. One sword style. Cross slash. As Yifeng fought, he tested his newly developed attack methods. The black sword light was mixed with terrifying wind blades and terrifying thunder and lightning. The terrain here has undergone major changes. All the surrounding trees fell down and huge rocks disintegrated. Uchiha Obito became more and more frightened. The young man in black martial arts uniform in front of him seemed to be tireless. You can't take it lightly, otherwise any small mistake may change the situation of the battle. Lightning style. Reikiri. On the right, Kakashi has opened the forehead protector, revealing the scarlet Sharingan. On the right hand, a shot of Reikiri has been condensed. This is a stronger ninjutsu than the A-level ninjutsu Chidori. S-level lightning style ninjutsu. Reikiri. On the side, Yifeng sighed in his heart when he saw this scene. I guess Uchiha Obito never dreamed of it. The eyes you give to your best friend will one day become a weapon to kill you. Yifeng has no intention of getting involved in the matter between them. Besides, Kakashi didn't recognize the Obito in front of him. Now, the two people are enemies. Uchiha Obito stood quietly, and many memories appeared in his mind for a while. The final scene freezes in the scene where Kakashi stabs Rin's chest with Reikiri. At the same time, Kakashi's Reikiri also stabbed over. Obito suddenly raised his right hand and tightly grasped Kakashi's Reikiri. At the same time, Obito's right arm was directly turned into pieces by Reikiri. Kakashi was also stunned for a moment. He did not expect that the enemy would be willing to use his arms to take his move. Obito suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha, since you don't care anymore, then I don't care anymore either. A red light appeared in his eyes. Wood style. Chaos from hell. On one side, Yi Feng couldn't help but curl his lips when he saw this. You look like this, who knows who you are? When the chaos of hell came, Yi Feng did not hesitate. He picked up the black sword and rushed towards Kakashi. The terrifying wood-style attack is coming. The hard ground was pierced hard. One after another, spiky trees were winding around like crazy. An indiscriminate attack across a large area. Yi Feng-san. In the distance, Uchiha Itachi roared when he saw Yi Feng surrounded by these trees. Suddenly, Itachi felt his eyes filled with tears. A strong tingling sensation was transmitted directly to his brain. At the same time, due to the stinging sensation, his eyes immediately closed tightly. The center of the hell chaos attack. Yi Feng is wielding a black knife, destroying these hard trees. One sword style. Black blade big tornado. Yi Feng directly released an indiscriminate large area wind blade attack. Suddenly, black wind blades directly broke through the trees. Kakashi also reacted at this time, and once again charged up a Chidori and broke through the surrounded trees with Yi Feng. After breaking it open, Yi Feng quickly sensed it. Obito disappeared. Ah! Yi Feng sang. In the distance, a voice came. Yi Feng narrowed his eyes and jumped to Itachi's side. After arriving here, Yi Feng was slightly surprised. Because, under Itachi's eyes, two clear tears of blood were slowly flowing. Kakashi was slightly shocked when he saw this. Itachi slowly opened his eyes. A pair of two Magatama Sharingan appeared impressively. Eye-opening. Uchiha Itachi opens Sharingan. Sharingan opens 2 years before the original. In the original book, it started at the age of 8, but now Itachi is only 6 years old. And the first one is the two Magatama Sharingan. He is truly a genius of the Uchiha clan. Ding! Congratulations to host for adding plus 1.2 unlocking progress. Gene Lock. Level 2, distance to level 3 12.8%. After Yi Feng heard the long-lost system prompt, a smile suddenly appeared on his face. It actually added 1.2 points directly. Yi Feng sang. Itachi hurriedly wiped away the blood and tears on his face, and felt relieved after seeing that Yi Feng was safe and sound. I'm fine, Yi Feng said with a smile. It seems that the people who came to snatch the scroll are also very powerful. They didn't know that the person who just wore the mask was Obito, and Yi Feng didn't need to tell them. The last one he used should be wood style, right? Kakashi's face gradually became serious. Wood style ninjutsu, this is an ability that only the legendary first Hokage can possess. Probably. Yi Feng nodded. Such a wide range of wood style attacks can be seen by any ninja. After all, back in the Sengoku period, Senju Hashirama's wood style was known to the entire ninja world. Kakashi will definitely report this matter to Minato, but Yi Feng doesn't believe that Minato can find anything. None of this mattered, Itachi had already activated the Sharingan. In this way, the combat power on our side will be greatly enhanced. The risk factor of the mission has also been reduced. Yi Feng and the other three took a short rest and then planned to set off overnight. Yi Feng also knew about this sudden assassination. My current strength is still not strong. It is necessary to speed up the progress of unlocking the gene lock. When I think about it, if I unlock it after the 4th level. Wait until you master the 4 basic powers. Manipulate matter, energy, space, and time. Time may be the most difficult thing to control, but as long as you can control space. Then if you face Uchiha Obito, you can easily kill him. The space has been imprisoned for you, and Obito's Kamui has lost any effect. During the next 2 days of travel, the 3 of them also encountered assassinations from several groups of ninjas. But everything has been resolved. In these 3 days, Yi Feng's strength once again made a qualitative leap. He no longer has to deliberately practice. You only need to work hard to unlock your own gene lock, and you can become stronger and stronger. Along the way, Yi Feng has grown the fastest. Kakashi and Itachi could only envy this. Almost every time he encounters an enemy attack, Yi Feng kills them all by himself. In the end, Kakashi and Itachi could only stare. In an unknown underground passage, Uchiha Obito is walking slowly. His damaged right arm was also replaced with a new white Zetsu right arm. The news from the Kingdom of Rain has arrived. At this time, a person who looked like a pitcher plant suddenly emerged from the secret passage. I understand, let's set off immediately. Uchiha Obito nodded. Infinite Tsukuyomi's plan begins. Obito knows that he cannot execute Infinite Tsukuyomi on his own. After all, you have to form your own force. However, before going to the Land of Rain, you have to meet Shimura Danzo. Konoha Village, in the dark underground chamber. Uchiha Obito slowly appeared here. Not only that, there are also several ninjas from the Uchiha clan. All these ninjas are under genjutsu, and as long as Obito doesn't release it, they will remain asleep. It didn't leave any traces, right? Shimura Danzo looked at the several Uchiha clan members on the ground and asked in a low voice. Haha, no, Obito just sneered at Danzo, who was so cautious. Where's the information I want? Uzumaki Kushina's delivery time should be around October. You can come to me then and I will tell you accurate information. Shimura Danzo narrowed his eyes and said slowly, Uchiha Madara, I am looking forward to our next cooperation. The 4 words Uchiha Madara were spoken very clearly in Danzo's mouth. Obito didn't pay attention to this, and Kamui disappeared without a trace. Uchiha Madara. Shimura Danzo lowered his eyes slightly and looked at the several members of the Uchiha clan on the ground. He whispered faintly, he doesn't bother to do such a thing. Then, he sent people to send all the Uchiha clan members to Orochimaru. At this time, 2 rude ninjas slowly came to Shimura Danzo's side. How about it? Have you found out about the so-called new force in the Kingdom of Rain? Shimura Danzo asked in a low voice. It's been checked out. One of the rude ninjas took out a scroll from his arms. After Shimura Danzo took it, he said calmly, take a few teams and go to the Land of Rain with me. Yes, perhaps it was a coincidence of fate that Danzo's journey of taking the blame began. At the gate of Konoha, 2 figures stood here pretty. The sunset is red and the moon is sunset. Today is the 5th day Yifeng has left the village to perform his mission. Why haven't you come back yet? Yuhihong said anxiously. Sister Shihihong, Yifeng is very powerful, nothing will happen to her. On the side, Mao Yuxian comforted her. However, her look that was more worried than Yuhi Kurenai had already given her away. Since 2 days ago, Yuhihong has been coming back to the village entrance and waiting for 2 hours every day. It was really because she was too worried about Yifeng. She even went to find her father, Yuhi Junhong, several times. Let him go to Master Hokage and tell him not to arrange such a dangerous mission for his brother. Yuhi Junhong was also quite helpless about this. He was just a jonin from Konoha, and it was also a time of war, so he had a lot of tasks to do. However, Shiri Junhong is still very pleased. No one can stand her daughter, except Yifeng. It seems that my original vision was still ruthless. At least you don't have to worry about Yuhi Kurenai finding a partner in the future. Anyway, Yifeng and his daughter have no blood relationship. The door of Konoha. 3 figures slowly appeared on the horizon. Kakashi walked on the left and Itachi walked on the right. In the middle is Yifeng with a calm expression. After Shihihong saw Yifeng, she hurried to his side. Then he hugged Yifeng tightly. Oh Dudu, you are so worried about your sister. Yuhihong said with relief. However, Yifeng was not in the mood to hear the second half of Yuhihong's words. Basically, the center is placed on the first few words. After being gentle for a while, Xian next to me was so envious. Yifeng's body was not clean. He was very dusty these days, and his clothes were naturally a little damaged. I'm back. Yifeng smiled. Let's go take a bath in a hot spring first. Let's go to the hot springs. After saying that, Yifeng walked in front of him calmly. Itachi thought it would be better not to follow him and eat dog food. Then, he left here alone. After all, he also wanted to return home quickly and tell his father that he had started the Sharingan matter. Seeing Itachi and Yifeng both leaving, Kakashi held his forehead helplessly. After the 2 of them returned to the village, they didn't care about anything. This mission report is all left to Kakashi. In Yifeng's words, Brother Kazi, we believe in you. Kakashi can also leave for the Hokage office building. Konoha office building, in Hokage's office. Minato looked at the information sent from the border, and his expression was not very good. He has already sent more than half of Konoha's Anbu ninjas to support him. We still need support right now. There is really no support from Konoha. In fact, Minato really wanted to ask Yifeng for advice on what to do about the current situation. Since the last time I visited the Uchiha clan with Yifeng, Minato felt that Yifeng really couldn't be judged by ordinary people's minds. At this moment, there was a knock on the office door. Minato said, "Please come in." Kakashi pushed open the door and entered. Minato stood up immediately when he saw it was Kakashi. "Kakashi, the mission is completed. Where are Yifeng and Itachi?" "The mission is accomplished." Kakashi nodded. Yifeng went to the hot springs, and Itachi went back to his family. "Okay, I know there won't be any problems with you and the team." Minato put a smile on his face. "No, Teacher Minato, this time, if it weren't for Yifeng, I'm afraid our mission would fail." Kakashi took a deep breath and said slowly, "We just left the village for half a day when we were assassinated for the first time. Besides, the assassin's strength is at least elite Jonin. Not only that, he can also perform attacks similar to wood style." "What?" Namikaze Minato's expression changed. Next, Kakashi told everything about the first time he encountered an assassination. Namikaze Minato listened quietly to Kakashi's report. "When I heard the end, my face was so shocked that I couldn't express it." "You mean, even if the other party is a strong man with that kind of strength, he can't benefit from Yifeng's hands?" And, Uchiha Itachi activated the Namagatama Sharingan during this assassination. Kakashi had already expected Mr. Minato's shock. "Minato-sensei, don't be shocked yet, there will be more." Next Kakashi told everything that happened in the past few days. There is no exaggeration, it is all true information. Hiss. After listening to this, Minato's expression went from shocked to numb. Yifeng killed 8 sneak attack ninjas with Jonin's strength alone, and nearly 20 with Chunin's strength. There are countless genin ninjas, estimated to be around 50. Where is this still an A-level mission? This is obviously S-level. However, precisely because of this, Minato now really understands Yifeng's strength. You know, he is only 6 years old now. Minato took the mission report from Kakashi's hand. Yifeng is indeed a super genius. It seems that my original feeling was correct. After Kakashi finished his report, he left here. Minato returned to his seat and put away the mission report. Then, he looked at the battle report in front of him, his expression once again lost in thought. In the Konoha Hot Spring Pavilion, Yifeng took a relaxing bath in a hot spring. The enjoyment after the battle is so comfortable. Shihihong and Ueyu Xian are next door. Although there is only a wall between them, Yifeng will not do anything out of the ordinary. After all, I am still a little short of time. Suddenly, Yifeng's eyes narrowed. Turning back in an instant, he found the black knife on one side already in his hand. It's not a good feeling to be peeped while soaking in a hot spring. Call out. One knife. Yifeng directly pierced the wooden wall behind him. The black knife, as black as ink, was pointed directly at a white-haired uncle. Jiraiya swallowed. If the knife advanced 2 centimeters, his eye would be gone. The black knife slowly retracted. Jiraiya coughed lightly and jumped up to the men's hot springs. Yifeng had already put on the black martial arts uniform at this time, holding the black sword in his hand and looking sideways at Jiraiya in front of him. Jiraiya grinned, flicked his white hair, jumped to the left, jumped to the right, and twisted in a normal way. Yo, I am one of the legendary Sannin. The great toad sage who inherited the senjutsu of Mount Myoboku. Yes, Jiraiya. I don't know you. Yifeng narrowed his eyes. In my eyes, you are just a voyeur. Ah, Jiraiya collapsed immediately. It was inevitable that someone would reveal his true identity, which was a bit embarrassing. Ahem, it doesn't matter if you don't know me. In fact, my true identity is a writer. Not interested. Yifeng carried the black knife and left here gracefully. Jiraiya, one of the Sannin, died at the hands of his disciples in the original work, and his end was very sad. However, Yifeng does not think that Jiraiya will be unable to defeat Tiandao. It's just a loss of information. Nagato knows all about Jiraiya, but Jiraiya doesn't know anything about the way of heaven. Therefore, sometimes, intelligence can turn the tide of the battle. Jiraiya scratched his head, looked at Yifeng who didn't care about him, and curled his lips. What a funny kid. Well, It's almost time to go meet the third generation. After murmuring twice, Jiraiya disappeared. In Konoha's office, Minato was still looking at the document in his hand in a daze. Emergency at the border, emergency at the border. Even if Anbu's ninjas come to support, are they still in a hurry? Minato's brows furrowed deeply. Hey, Minato, what are you thinking about? You're so absorbed. Suddenly, a big hand patted Minato, who was deep in thought. Minato immediately became alert and quickly turned his head. Then, his face became a little stunned. Jiraiya-sensei. It's me. Jiraiya smiled and jumped in from the window. When did you come back? A smile appeared on Minato's face. I just came back and took a dip in the hot springs. Well, I also met a kid carrying a knife. Jiraiya said casually. Carrying a knife. Minato was stunned for a moment and said hurriedly, is his knife black? Yes. Jiraiya nodded, looking at his appearance. He is probably about 6 or 7 years old. I almost touched his path. His name is Yi Feng. Minato smiled warmly. He is my disciple. What? Jiraiya was also stunned. That brat is your disciple? Yes. Minato continued. I currently have 3 leading disciples. Kakashi, Yi Feng, Uchiha Itachi. After saying these 3 names, Jiraiya's expression changed slightly. The first 2 were nothing, but the last one turned out to be Uchiha Itachi. This is something Jiraiya didn't expect. Kakashi and Uchiha Itachi will not be mentioned for now, but that Yi Feng, I don't feel that there is anything strong about him. Jiraiya scratched his head. It's just that his sword skills are a little better. Teacher Jiraiya, please take a look at this mission report. Minato smiled and did not refute Jiraiya. He took out the mission report Yi Feng had performed the past few days from under the table. Jiraiya took it, opened it, and read it carefully. And Jiraiya's face also changed from shock to shock, and finally became extremely shocked. Is this report true? Jiraiya asked hurriedly. There is absolutely no exaggeration. Minato said extremely seriously. This Yi Feng is really a monster. Such a record, I'm afraid even some Jonin can't compare, right? Jiraiya was trembling a little as he spoke. Such a genius cannot be buried. Teacher Jiraiya, you have overlooked one point. Yi Feng is a civilian ninja with no blood inheritance limit. Minato said again. Hiss. Jiraiya couldn't help it anymore and took a breath of air. A genius that comes only once in a century. After a long time, Jiraiya looked around and asked, where is the third generation? Third generation Sama is recuperating at home for a while. Minato smiled. In one sentence, Jiraiya knew that Minato was now in power. This isn't like Mr. Sarutobi's style. It seems that many changes have taken place in the village in the years since I was no longer in the village. Part of the reason why Jiraiya left Konoha after World War II came from Sarutobi Hiruzen. And Jiraiya didn't like the way the village was doing at that time. Therefore, he left Konoha at the end of World War II. At present, the war between the 3 wars has spread to the entire border. Jiraiya had no choice but to come back and take a look. If he still behaves in a worse way, Jiraiya will still choose to leave. Jiraiya walked to the edge of Hokage's desk and picked up a document. His face gradually became sad. Konoha is now forced to this point. Jiraiya-sensei, Minato said softly. Minato, can I meet your team tomorrow? Jiraiya touched his chin, thinking in his eyes. Okay, Minato nodded. Seeing Jiraiya's look, Minato knew that he must be interested in Yi Feng. However, Minato is still in favor of allowing Yi Feng to meet Jiraiya. At dusk, the residence of the Uchiha clan. Fugaku looked at Uchiha Itachi in front of him with a look of disbelief. And Itachi's eyes have turned into 2 Magatama Sharingan. Genius. Ha ha ha, I knew it. My Fugaku-san is a genius. Fugaku laughed loudly. Uchiha Itachi could tell that his father was smiling happily. I am truly happy from the bottom of my heart. However, Itachi began to think deeply. This Sharingan was opened by me only in a state of extreme pain. Could it be that this is how the Uchiha clan becomes stronger? Father, is it possible to get such eyes only under extreme pain? Itachi suddenly raised his head and looked at his father with burning eyes. If that's the case, then I'd rather not have eyes like that. Uchiha Itachi, who was only 6 years old, asked something that Fugaku could not answer. I'd rather not have eyes like this. Fugaku fell silent, and after a long time, he whispered. Itachi, this is how our clan survives. No, Itachi shook his head vigorously, there must be other ways. If pain is used to gain strength, then I would rather not do it. Previously, at the moment when the wood-style hell broke out, Itachi really thought that Yifeng would die under that kind of powerful ninjutsu. So, in a state of extreme anger and desperation, he turned on the Sharingan. Itachi, you have to understand. Fugaku sighed softly. Itachi was about to retort. At this moment, a hearty voice came from outside the hall. Itachi, you are wrong if you think so. Yifeng's voice came faintly. One person, wearing a martial arts uniform and a sword, walked in leisurely. Itachi looked at Yifeng without blinking. You just said that your Sharingan was turned on in desperation and in great pain. Yifeng smiled, but in my eyes, you can become strong only in desperate situations. Only when you become stronger can you protect what you want to protect. Pain, that's just an excuse for the weak. We must transform pain into strength. Then use this transformed strength to protect those around us. Having said this, Yifeng stretched out his right index finger and tapped Itachi's forehead. Understood. As soon as he finished speaking, Uchiha Fugaku, who was in the first place, was no longer calm. His face was full of horror. He murmured softly. Convert pain into strength, and then use this strength to protect those around you. Hiss. Fugaku took a deep breath. This simple sentence could even change the entire Uchiha clan. It is very painful to initiate Sharingan. After the extreme pain, some people will become very extreme. However, shouldn't the power gained from protecting those around us be better used to protect those around us? Presumably, those tribesmen who have passed away don't want to see the people who open their eyes go to extremes, right? Yifeng can actually see so deeply. Fugaku even felt the aura of a leader from Yifeng. The future of this child is immeasurable. Perhaps, the change between the Uchiha clan and Konoha lies in Yifeng. Understood. Yifeng once again nodded at Uchiha Itachi, who was in a daze. And Itachi's eyes gradually brightened. He said seriously, I understand. Just understand. Yifeng nodded. Itachi's mind is very smart, and he has a lot to think about, and he only needs to click through. The rest depends on his own perception. Itachi, I'm here to inform you that we will meet at the 7th training ground at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yifeng said, and after finishing speaking, he left gracefully. I really just came here on the way. After all, I just met Minato, so I came here to pass on a message. However, Yifeng also has some expectations. Where is the limit of his current strength? Even in the last mission, when he fought Obito, it was just a short fight. Yifeng still has many unique skills that he has not yet used. At that time, Obito was not in the mood to challenge, so the final result of the battle was not reached. Jiraiya. Yifeng left the Uchiha clan's residence. Night has fallen. Yifeng walked in the mountains and forests. 5 minutes later, he said calmly, come out, Orochimaru. From the moment he left the Uchiha station, Yifeng sensed an unusually cold aura locking on him. This kind of cold breath can only appear on one person. That's Orochimaru. Jun Yifeng, you really interest me. At the edge of the dense jungle, Orochimaru slowly walked out. He licked his lips and showed a cold smile. Are you here to fight with me? Yifeng squinted his eyes and looked Orochimaru up and down. If the aura is not very strong, doesn't it mean that he has already started experimenting with the living corpse reincarnation technique? Has it even been successful? No, Orochimaru shook his head. I just want to get your body and make you my reincarnation container. So, are you here to catch me? Yifeng still had a calm look on his face. No, Orochimaru continued to shake his head. I can feel it, you are not an ordinary person. But what exactly worries me, I don't know. I just came to tell you that there is an action against you at the root, and I don't want my reincarnation container to die so quickly. Genbu. Yifeng smiled lightly, wondering if he was being targeted by Genbu after all. However, this is fine, Yifeng is not afraid of any roots. On the contrary, if there is really a ninja with deep roots attacking him, it will go along with Yifeng's thoughts. After all, if you want to continue to unlock the gene lock, you can't just practice. After Orochimaru finished speaking, he left here. He really came to tell the truth. Moreover, Orochimaru never hides his ambitions and goals. Coming here this time, to put it bluntly, Yi Feng, I have taken a liking to your body. The root also discovered that you are unusual, so as my default container for reincarnation, don't die. Yi Feng is not afraid of Danzo, on the contrary, he is only excited. Hope, the roots will not disappoint themselves. The next day, at 8 o'clock in the morning, Yi Feng, Kakashi, and Itachi have arrived at the 7th training ground. At this time, Minato and Jiraiya also appeared here. Yi Feng, he, we met yesterday. Jiraiya greeted Yi Feng with a smile. Hello, voyeur. Yi Feng looked at Jiraiya and said. Ahem. Jiraiya coughed lightly. I'm not a voyeur, I'm one of the legendary Sannin. Jiraiya. You can also call me Great Toad Sage. Okay, pervy sage. Yi Feng said. Quote. Jiraiya was completely speechless. Apparently, what happened yesterday was remembered by him. Besides, I went to collect materials yesterday. If you don't use materials, where can you find inspiration? If you have no inspiration, how can you continue to create? Ahem, Jiraiya is my teacher, and he is also a very powerful ninja. Minato stepped forward to smooth things over. As your teacher, I don't have much time to teach you ninjutsu. Minato said apologetically. From now on, let Mr. Jiraiya teach you. Kakashi and Itachi nodded at the same time. They naturally knew the title of Jiraiya, one of the Sannin. Yi Feng looked indifferent, it didn't matter who taught him. Kakashi, Itachi, Yi Feng. Jiraiya's face gradually became serious. Don't think I'm better than Minato. My training is very harsh. And, after I test your strength in a while, I will take you to the border. Join the war. Minato had a look of astonishment on his face when he heard this. This was different from what he had promised before. It's what I asked for. Yi Feng grinned. On one side, Kakashi and Itachi showed no intention of backing down. Don't worry, Minato, I'm watching over you. Jiraiya gave Minato a reassuring look. Jiraiya-sensei. Minato moved his mouth but didn't say much. After all, the pressure on the border is too great. Okay, next, let me see the strength of the three of you. Jiraiya looked at Yi Feng and the others with a smile. Come one at a time, starting with Uchiha Itachi. Afterwards, everyone came to the flat ground on one side. 15 minutes later, Itachi was defeated. Not bad, although they are only genin, their overall strength is already comparable to some elite chunin. Jiraiya commented. Next, it's Yi Feng. Yi Feng carried the black knife and came to stand in front of Jiraiya. Slowly pulling out the black knife, a killing aura suddenly hit his face. Jiraiya nodded secretly. As Minato said, he is very powerful. You can't take it lightly either. Yi Feng instantly activated the body flicker technique, came to Jiraiya's right side, and slashed him hard with one knife. One sword-style black blade slashes flatly. The crescent-shaped black light was instantly stimulated. Jiraiya's pupils shrank and he jumped up instantly. Lightning style. Chidori slash. The black knife in Yi Feng's hand turned and quickly stabbed towards the sky. The dazzling lightning suddenly appeared. Jiraiya narrowly avoided Yi Feng's attack. At this time, he looked shocked. This kind of power can already be regarded as the best in A-level ninjutsu, right? It turns out that Yi Feng is so powerful. Wind style. Kill II with one sword. Yi Feng didn't give Jiraiya any chance to breathe. Aikido Ryu II directly merges with the wind style and fires it out instantly. Call out. The terrifying sword light directly hit Jiraiya in midair. And Jiraiya also turned into a ball of white smoke and disappeared with a bang. Behind the tree dozens of meters tall, Jiraiya was panting, with a look of horror on his face. These few moves just now are all killing moves that can kill the enemy. However, Jiraiya also knew that Yi Feng did not have any killing intent. Doesn't it mean that if he uses his murderous intention, he will die by his sword if he is careless? Pervy sage, don't be distracted during the battle. Suddenly, a voice reached Jiraiya's ears. And the big tree he was hiding in suddenly split into two halves. Jiraiya once again narrowly avoided Yi Feng's attack. Rasengan. At this time, Yi Feng's sword had already risen and arrived. Jiraiya had to fight back. He held up his right hand, and a light blue chakra energy body appeared on his palm. Yi Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. Rasengan. The Rasengan that runs through the entire Hokage. The A-level ninjutsu Rasengan was played by Naruto in the later stage and was called a slip. A flat slash has arrived in front of Rasengan. Boom. Boom. A wave of air spread out. Okay, no more fighting. Jiraiya hurriedly called Yi Feng to stop. Only then did Yi Feng stop his galloping figure. Jiraiya couldn't help but take a breath. No wonder Minato calls Yi Feng a fighting maniac. Just now, he actually took down his own Rasengan, and then continued to attack. Doesn't he have any damage? Isn't my Rasengan so weak? However, what Jiraiya doesn't know is that Yi Feng has now unlocked the second level gene lock. The body's senses, as well as the muscle tissue, have all been greatly strengthened. The resilience is naturally extremely pervert. Even if Yi Feng directly used his body to resist Rasengan just now, he could still withstand it. Yi Feng himself initially felt that the body's pervert recovery power was about to reach the Uzumaki clan's physique. Even, as long as he steps into the third level gene lock. The recovery power is comparable to that of first Hokage. After all, this is self-healing without seal. And without consuming chakra. No matter how you look at it, I am physically stronger than the Uzumaki clan. I already have a preliminary understanding of the strength of the three of you. Jiraiya reappeared in front of the three of them. Then, let's meet at the gate of Konoha at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Jiraiya said this and looked at Yi Feng and the three others. Go, border. He wanted to see if these three people would be timid. As a result, Kakashi looked calm. After all, they came down from the battlefield. Yi Feng had a calm smile on his face, and even vaguely, Jiraiya felt a little bit of excitement. What are you excited about? That's a battlefield. Looking at Itachi again, Itachi focused on Yi Feng. Yes, at this glance, he is Yi Feng's little fanboy. Finally, Jiraiya set his sights on Yi Feng. A crazy idea popped into his head. Could it be, will the child of prophecy spoken of by great Toad Sage be Yi Feng? The next day, 9 o'clock in the morning. At the gate of Konoha, Minato also arrived early to prepare to see Yi Feng and the others off. Yi Feng, you must be careful in everything. Minato looked at Yi Feng solemnly. Then, he took out three-pronged special kunai. The handle of the kunai has the logo, Sword of Shinobi Love, written on it. Yi Feng, remember, if you encounter any emergency and cannot escape, you must inject chakra into the Flying Thunder God kunai. Minato took a deep breath and slowly glanced at Yi Feng and the others. Finally, he set his sights on Kakashi and said solemnly, this time, I won't be late again. Kakashi's body also trembled slightly. Yi Feng weighed the sword of forbearance in his hand and smiled lightly. Minato-sensei, if there is really an emergency at the border, wouldn't it be enough to send the Konoha shinobi to support us? Konoha shinobi. Minato sighed lightly, there were not many Konoha shinobi left. Are the ninjas of the Uchiha clan not Konoha shinobi? Suddenly, Yi Feng's light words reached Minato's ears. Minato's expression changed drastically on the spot. When he raised his head, Yi Feng and others had already left Konoha village. Minato stood there quietly. After a long time, he whispered softly, the ninjas of the Uchiha clan are not the ninjas of Konoha. Yes, he had said before that he wanted to bring the Uchiha clan and Konoha back together. I can't figure out how I got here. A few minutes later, Minato sped off in one direction with a determined look on his face. And there is where the Uchiha clan resides. In the jungle outside Konoha village. Jiraiya also looked at Yi Feng in confusion. The words just now are still ringing in Jiraiya's ears. Yes, are the ninjas of the Uchiha clan not the ninjas of Konoha? Yi Feng saw it so clearly. Jiraiya feels more and more now that Yi Feng is the son of destiny that he has been looking for. After 3 days of traveling, Yi Feng and his party finally arrived at the border between the land of fire and the land of water. Although there is already support from Anbu here. But the attack of Wying village is also very fierce. When the people here saw that the only supporting force was Team Yi Feng, everyone's expressions changed. However, when they saw that the leader was Jiraiya, they felt relieved. At the very least, Jiraiya is one of the legendary Sannin. Tell me the details of the recent battle. Jiraiya said to the team leader here. Yes, a ninja captain quickly came to his side. After half an hour, the information was obtained. That night, Jiraiya and Yifeng gathered in a tent. Now, the battle is clear. I don't know what kind of agreement they have reached between Kirigage village and Cloud Shinobi village. They are now exerting crazy pressure on the border. So, we must penetrate into the enemy's rear and cut off their food and fodder. Jiraiya looked at the map and then said solemnly. Yifeng nodded, and the next task became clear. Go deep behind enemy lines and cut off their food and fodder. Penetrate the enemy's defense line. Everyone, take a rest for a day. I will take you to complete this task tomorrow morning. Jiraiya whispered. Yeah, the three nodded. He left the tent and returned to his own tent. The moment Yifeng returned to his tent, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Let Jiraiya lead the team. Then I still have a lot of experience. Start taking action tonight. Hidden in the darkness, 3 figures disappeared into the Konoha shinobi team like ghosts. Yifeng and the other 3 were running wildly in the jungle. He could feel that a powerful force was awakening in his heart. The blood in my body is boiling. This feeling makes Yifeng very obsessed. Stop. Yifeng stopped Kakashi and Itachi. Then he pointed to a valley with his finger. There are more than a dozen ninjas from Kirikage village there. Yifeng's perception ability is very strong, stronger than Kakashi and Itachi, and he can naturally sense the situation of the surrounding ninjas. Yifeng sang, "What should we do next?" Itachi asked quickly. Yifeng smiled faintly, "Kill." Ding. Start a new mission. Mission. Kill 1000 genin. Reward. Fire attribute plus 20 unlock points. Ding. Start a new mission. Mission. Kill 300 chunin. Reward. Water attribute plus 30 unlock points. Ding. Start a new mission. Mission. Kill 100 jonin. Reward. Earth attribute plus 50 unlock points. 3 tasks suddenly appeared in Yifeng's mind. Or other attributes rewarded. Yifeng narrowed his eyes. That's not bad either. The more attributes you have, the stronger your power will be after you unlock the 3rd level gene lock. The tasks that appear in this system are simply tailor-made for you. The night attack has begun. The next day, early morning, Jiraiya came to Yifeng's tent and found that it was already empty. Moreover, a note was left behind. Don't worry, Lord Jiraiya, we believe in Yifeng's strength. Hitaki Kakashi. As for Wying village, 3 assassination teams have been killed by Yifeng's team. Itachi killed the least, Kakashi was responsible for raiding the formation, and Yifeng was responsible for the main kill. Time started to pass little by little. This time, Wying village really provoked a killing god. In just one night, all 3 assassination squads were wiped out. At least 30 ninjas died, including Chunin and Jonin. From this you can imagine how powerful the opponent is. The death conditions of these people were also extremely tragic. Either the body was separated, or he was stabbed in the heart and killed. Some people even couldn't even find their bodies. Time began to pass slowly, and a terrifying atmosphere began to linger among the ninja team stationed in Wying village. They are now a little afraid of the coming of night. Because whenever night falls, the nearby valley or jungle, they will all let out heart-piercing screams. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.